I'm gonna get a drink. And then we'll wait. We'll wait. Fix that. And we'll change that. Didn't know you played Nico. Who's your favorite member of the Counters? It's Anise. It's Anise. I put a lot of resources into summoning her. She is by far my favorite. By a long shot. I'm just setting up the UI because I don't like having it not on full screen when I'm playing it on stream.
Outshine the stars. Outrun the light.
That's I don't mind her saying it, but she says it twice all the time. It's kind of annoying, actually. It's the only issue with Anise. But there. Because I'm going to summon Neon now. I summoned Anise. I got her 4 copies. I mean, I got the original and then I got 3 extra copies, so I was pretty happy. Everyone loves Anise. I prefer... To be honest, I'll be blunt. I didn't really like Neon throughout the story. Because I just thought she was kind of like... Her punchlines were kind of like boring to me. But then when you do this stuff like her whole backstory and everything... I kind of got really attached to her, and now her new outfit, it's like, dude, that outfit, that is like, oh my god. She went from like an average looking character to like really freaking good. Like, honestly, I just loved the giant, like, hovering gun kind of thing. It's such a good upgrade for her. Such a good upgrade. I was generally impressed by that. I'll try and turn off the music. Not the Nikke music, but everything else. There we go. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest Neon fan throughout the story, and then I kind of grew really attached to her once you go through the backstory, because the backstory is so good. It's so good. Like the descent, like as she's slowly losing her eyesight, and you got the pompous little chick. I kind of would like to see the pompous little girl back, but it's like, yeah, nah. It's good to have those heartbreaking moments and not bring characters back when they died too much. Because if you do that, you're kind of doing like a Marvel situation, and if you do that, then death doesn't have any gravity or weight behind it, so you kind of want to have that weight. But they were kind of like a nice, like cute little duo as far as like friends go. Like I said, yeah, I wasn't her biggest fan at the start of the story. Like, she wasn't like a character that I hated or anything. I just kind of thought like she was kind of mid as far as like her character went. Like, it ran like a lot of the same jokes, but then after that side story, I was like, okay, well, not side story, but backstory is the better way to put it. Right, I gotta be correct here. I'm sure some of the Yuri fans are watching me getting mad, but going through her backstory, that's what sold me on her, and I find that that's what Nikke does a really good job at, is getting you a character, you thinking that it's pretty like okay-ish, and then throwing a good backstory or world building or just character building, and you just kind of like being like, okay, this is like the best character ever. Especially with the new chapters with Dorothea, that was pretty good. I really liked those. I just want to make sure everything's working and functioning before I actually start properly streaming. It takes like 10 minutes before people get in. Are you the Resident Evil fan? Are you a Resident Evil fan? I've played a couple Resident Evil games, but to be honest, I've not played enough of them. I really do need to play more Resident Evil games, to be honest. Because some of them are really good. One of the things I really want is I actually really am debating on getting this, because I've got her. I don't have like her really fully like maxed out. I've got only an extra copy. I think I got her in like one extra copy. I'd have to check. I've not been I got lucky with her, but then after that I wasn't so lucky to get more. That's funny because that's how I felt about Anise's attitude for most of the part of the game. I started to come around when I could see her trying to get over whatever part she had. That's the thing about the story, is that the game does a really good job at building these characters that you may not necessarily really like, and then just kind of like pulling on your heartstrings. Because my friend doesn't like Anise too much either, but I really like Anise. But at the start, she kind of comes off a little bit rude and condescending a lot of the times, but then she kind of like grows on you. I'm just trying to see if I could find all the images for what I was looking at before, but for some weird reason, there we go. I so want to get this stuff, right? This. Like, I really want this. Apparently the game's not about butts. Apparently all the Yuri fans told me that the game is not about butts, that I'm factually incorrect, that I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess I gotta pack it up, guys. Guess I gotta pack it up. My butt robot gun game is not about guns and butts and robots. Yeah, stream just started. I'm just waiting a couple minutes. I always like to wait a couple minutes and just chat before we do anything. Have you tried out the Neverless to Everest game? I've been asked about that like a million times. I have not. I'm gonna have to look into it now because everyone keeps asking. Everyone keeps asking about it. So the plan is for stream, gonna summon for Neon as the beginning, and then we're gonna go into it's about sad robots with butts. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know what? You are right there, Anthony. It is a sad story about robot butt girls with guns, with massive guns now, that all want to bang the commander. But it's a sad game, especially some of the stuff. It's so good at like pulling your heartstrings. I kind of never really liked Dorothea, but I just kind of feel bad that I don't like Dorothea because she is such a good character. She is such a good character. If you can build her up, Nerida is a beast. I've got her. Zip. And I've got the skin, so if I get the figure, I get the skin as well. So, I just don't have like heaps. I've only got 2 extra copies on top of the main one. Firepower! I can't do her voice. Her voice is too... I wasn't a big fan of Neon at the start. I just thought she was boring, right? But now, it's like one of those things like where someone's like dating someone and they ignore all their bad quirks and see it as cute quirks. When I first got introduced to when you first get introduced to a character, right, and you're going through the story and everything, I found a lot of her like quirks really annoying and just like irritating. But then once you do her backstory, I'm just like, oh, she's just cute when she does her quirky little stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I just oversee all the parts that I normally saw annoying. I don't see as annoying now because I like her because of her backstory. It's so stupid, but it's just like one of those things where you just like your biases kick in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna overlook the things that normally other people would see annoying, and now I like it. It's just like, okay. And the fact that she talks about firepower with that thing, okay, now she can talk about firepower. Because that thing is a monster of a weapon. Originally, she always had that, like, pipsqueak weapon. And she goes on about firepower. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty small, though. That's pretty small. And regardless, I can summon her with the tickets anyway if I get really desperate. But I kind of wanted to see if I could summon her through that and save the tickets. The character design is nice, the open world is alright, but people should stop calling open world games the next GTA. It's infuriating. I wouldn't really call Nikke an open world. I wouldn't really... I mean, are people really calling Nikke an open world? An open world allows you to do things in multiple different... like, explore the world at any point in time. And I mean, sure, you can go back through chapters, but that's like... it's not really open world, right? That's just like you do a story and you can backtrack through it. I wouldn't really call Nikke open world. It's linear and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that was the legendary gun ammo. Yeah, maybe. No.
Nicely. So,
What do we get?
I'm Swy, a sophomore at MMR.
I like the way it
Vocational
didn't
School.
show that it
I
was...
look forward
they
to
do those
working with
false
you this
ones.
semester.
That's a new character. Nikke is a linear game, not an open world, more of a menu. Yeah, I'd see Nikke more linear than open. I don't know why people would call it an open world, but I feel like people just throw the word open world on anything and then call it a day. So today is probably the last day of the open net in America. We have a bill that is going to be snuck into must pass funding. Yeah, there's so many annoying laws that I've heard about. Rip. Alright. Give me my one reward. Nikke's story-based action limited map fan service game. I I guess you could call it action-based, action limited. I mean, you see the butts, but that was the funniest part, right? I was calling some Yuri account out that was obsessing about every character, like all these characters scissoring each other, and I was just calling them out, calling them a tourist, and I was like, yeah, it's a butt game with guns where robots want to sleep with the main protagonist, and they're like all crashing out going, actually there's more to the story than that, and I'm like, yeah, but that's how it's marketed, that's its main core selling point, and they were like raging at me being like, oh, there's actually more to the story. It's just like, okay, it must really bother them that there is so much fan service in this game. The Sony thing has been having me in a foul mode for the past couple of days. Which Sony thing? Because there's so many things Sony does. Bought the rare skin myself. Expensive, but I like her character. The story's really good. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story. Right? I mean, you look past the butts and the guns and the girls wanting to sleep with the main protagonist. It's got a phenomenal story. But you have to acknowledge its marketing points. And that's the thing that these Yuri idiots...
This shot will make you stronger.
That's the thing about these Yuri fans, you know, these Yuri idiots. They hate the very idea that this game is not marketed for them. The very idea enrages them. We're gonna have to do some... I'm getting unlucky with Neon. I'm really getting unlucky with her. That's alright, we got plenty of summons. The 30-day timer for PlayStation games. Oh. I heard about that. I thought they reversed that decision because people kicked up a stink. We get our free 10 summon when we hit another 40. Come on, Neon. Come on, Neon. Come on. I wouldn't mind getting a couple copies of her because I really want to have these two characters really... I'm unlucky with this one. I got a niece sooner than this. See how poxy her gun is? We're having some bad luck. Oh.
Leave it to me. I may be another.
You finally came for me. I knew we were destined to meet.
You know what? I'm disappointed, but I'm kind of happy at the same time. I didn't summon her through the last event because I was saving up for these events. The Sony thing is experimenting to see what they can get. And, well, I mean, it isn't the first time that Sony's tried to do this. I think Xbox tried it as well. Yeah, goodbye free internet. I mean, it's... Yeah.
Is Valorta around?
I'll take her because I need another... I wanted her anyway. I didn't summon her last event, so... Come on, give me Neon. Or we're getting it right off the right. Oh, I think it's
Neon here, responding to the call for firepower.
sucked in, Yuri fans. Very nice, very nice. Now I gotta do another 10 summon, then I get an extra 10 summon. So I might as well do a 10 summon. Alright. Three in a row! Alright.
Leave it.
catch. Oh well. Would have been funny if I got her again.
I'm hungry. Have you got anything to eat, perchance?
Another new character? You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm thinking of going up to 180 summons just to get the extra temple. Just to see if we can get an extra a neon. Because I've got enough to buy 2 of her if I want to. Because I wouldn't mind getting 3 copies of her. Just so I can get like a good amount. I don't want to go beyond that because it's just a waste. So we'll go. I don't want to use up all my stuff, but I want to see. Oh my god, 4 in a row. 4 in a row. Okay. Give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one.
I may be nice. Soldier OW at your service. Neon here. Responding to the call for firepower.
Did you get Red Hood, Rappy? I've got Rappy Red Hood, right? The combo one. I do have her.
Your orders, please.
Oh, do I keep going? Do I keep going or do I use those? Ooh, do we keep going? Do we keep going? YOLO. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Actually, during the Licorice Recoil event, I got 2 of, I forget her name, the red chick, in the same banner. I got 3 SSRs, and 2 of them were her. Rip. Alright. Let's go again. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one. Come on, come on, come on. Come on.
Neon here. Responding to the call for firepower.
Oh, all those Yuri fans. Oh, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Oh. Almost 5 golds in a row. I didn't get one that last 10 summon.
Leave it to me.
Alright. How many copies is that? How many copies was that? I need to make sure I remember. Neon. Alright. How many copies was that? One more. We need one more.
I was already healthy, but I feel even better now.
One more. That's the thing, these Yuri fans, they can't stop me. And the funny thing is, if I was really desperate, I could just buy her outright. I like saving these for worst case. I don't mind spending some of the coins. I've saved up heaps, so I can keep doing more stuff to get it up. Let's, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me another one. I was asking for too much. That's alright. Alright. We're going again. One more. Not one more, but I want one more. Come on. Give me another one, please. Please. Just to piss people off. Oh my Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Please, 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 please. Oh!
Responding to the call for firepower.
You ripper! what about. Mmm.
Is Florta around here?
Oh, that's some good shit right there, baby. That's some good fucking shit right there. I'm almost tempted just to go again until I can get the extra 10. But I'm just like, oh, do I do it? I would like to start saving my gems up for the next event. Whenever I find a unit that I really want. Because I wanted these two. I wanted Anise and Neon. I wasn't really sure I was going to go for Neon. Like, I was just going to get like one copy and call it a day. But I was like, you know what? We'll go full throttle. You know what's funny? I got more of her, because I think it took me 220 pulls exactly to get Anise 4 copies. It took me less than that to do the same for Neon. Yeah, I'll probably wait for the next event. The thing is, I probably want it summoned for like ages now. I'll just keep saving up my gems. Because most of the characters they release, I'm like, I don't really care. I just wanted Neon and Anise. Because Anise, I've been waiting for ages. And then with Neon, I was I'm an RN about it. But I was like, I really like her look. So I was like, you know what? We'll go Neon. We'll get another over. I think she's an overspec, if I'm correct. And it's just like, alright, we've got the full team, right? We've got the full team, right? We've got Rappy. I wish I had maybe gone for one more, but that's alright. We'll get another one of her at some point, right? And then, yes, please. Thank God it's over 12 o'clock. If my friend saw that I spent the money to buy that, he'd be literally ringing me up, going, bro, get some help. Yes, I bought the skins. When's the next event? Probably in like 2 weeks. I mean, they basically are doing an event every month now. They're rolling the events out regularly. But, I mean, you've got part 2 for the story now released. So the hard mode for that will come out in a week. But as far as events go, I'm curious to see what other events come out. But as far as new units go, I'm not as interested in probably the other units that are coming. No Rappy skin. No, I didn't get any Rappy skin. I probably could have, but yeah, no. I kind of do really want her, though. I do want that one. Obvious reasons. But no, I did. Oh, that one hasn't released yet. Well, the monthly thing is coming up. So maybe, because there's the Dorothea one and there's that one. So maybe the monthly skin coming out the next day might be her. It's that or Dorothea. No, we just got Dorothea's skin. We just got Dorothea's skin, right? Yeah, I just bought that too, didn't I? Yeah, Dorothea's is right here. So, yeah, Rappy's should be coming out in the next day. So, we'll get... Yeah, I spent my... So, yeah, Rappy's should be pretty much coming out, for me, probably in the next day or so. That's good, that's good, that's good. We'll be alright. I'll sort out Neon's toolkit afterwards. I'll sort her out later. Where the hell is she anyway? Oh, there she is. Oh yeah, that's where most of my money goes, is into the skins. Ooh yeah. Oh, we'll apply that. Let's look at the lobby. We'll put her there. I don't even know how the hell you switch between them, to be honest. I'm that stupid.
Outshine the star.
Oh, that's how you do it. I was like, I wonder how I do it.
Get ready for
There you go.
firepower.
Just for... That's pretty cool, though. Not gonna lie. Awesome. Alright. I will switch over to the string, what I'm going to react to. I'll just close that window because it's an extra window I do not need open. I don't need to look at that. Just checking something. So I'm gonna react to Monta Sensei's video from like 10 days ago. Does this game have FOMO, like when the characters go from packs, they don't return? The only stuff that's really FOMO is the collaboration events, right? So say, for example, they had a ReZero event, they had a Licorice Coil event. Those are probably the only FOMO-based things. The skins generally return over time in like different skin rotation pack things. So if you miss out on the skins, you generally get a chance to buy them later on. But as far as like actual characters in the story, like if I wanted to get Neon after all this, I could get her because they'll add her into the main rotation, right? And you can put like special, like higher stacked things so you can try and farm her and stuff, which is probably what I'll do just to get extras of her. But as far as FOMO goes, the game is pretty good without doing FOMO because I hate FOMO in games. I really hate FOMO. I understand why they have to do FOMO with events, right? The collaboration events, not the actual events within the game story and stuff, but the collaboration events. Were you also disappointed by the Mirror's lobby? Yeah, it was pretty average. It was pretty average. But as far as FOMO goes for the game, it's pretty good, right? It's, all things considered, I think this is probably like, Nikke is probably one of the best games when it comes to monetization, gotcha chances. I mean, obviously, I just got 4 copies of the character and I barely broke a sweat. So now I've got to start saving up gems again. And then, as far as, yeah, FOMO and monetization, it's a pretty good game. I mean, you can end up spending a lot of money on some skins, right? Some skins can be a little bit pricey, but again, you buy it outright, so it's not like they're misleading you or anything. But yeah, collab events is really the only FOMO driven, and that's, yeah, it's due to licensing. It's obvious, so it's understandable. But for the rest, I think the only stuff they rarely do FOMO for, there's like an Anise summer event, a summer unit that's FOMO based, but I think they're planning to bring that back as an event anyway, so maybe you might be able to get her again. There's even a figure for her as well, and that's one of the things I do like about the game, is they release figures of the characters in the skins, which is really cool, because some of the skins are really freaking awesome, and they release skins, well, they release the figures for the skins, so I actually want to get, Anise, if they announce her, well, there's some fan ones out there, but I want to get an Anise figure of the new unit, right? Or even in the skin outfit, either or either, I'd be happy with. But there's also that figure I showed at the start of the stream that I really want to get as well. Marvel Rivals does similar in events. Some skins are exclusive, so does events. But the battle passes on the shops are forever. You buy whatever you... Yeah, I mean, all the battle pass stuff, they generally do... I think they end up bringing them back. Someone Neon needs a item. Her kit is sad. Some of the kits can be really good or really bad. It's hit and miss with some of those kits. I've been farming the same kit out for ages for one character because I just haven't been bothered to farm a lot of the kits out because I've just been mostly playing like all the good, really new characters. So I probably need to start farming some of the other kits out. But Yeah. I like the game. I like it because it's got a really good story. You know, past the actual butts and, you know, the butt physics and the guns. It's a good story. It's a very good story. I really love the story. I watch a couple of content creators that go into the story. I just get tired of all the Yuri fans that jump on it and go, oh, it's a Yuri game. Look, they're scissoring each other. And then they try and force their headcanon. And it's just like, okay, you're clearly not really interested in the game, right? They're more interested in trying to force a weird headcanon. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I wouldn't really care if they did it in their own corner and they just left fans alone. But they're constantly trying to hammer this idea that every character is like a trans character or a Yuri character. They don't really do the trans thing for Nikke. I've seen a couple times where people have tried to push it, but that's very far and few. Still confused about the Yuri. I am too. I'm like, where do you get the Yuri stuff? And they try and look for some like headcanon, or they look at there's two specific characters they run to. And if you actually do the actual side, like the side story, like relationship stuff, it's very obvious that they're not like Yuri, but the relationship's more complicated. But of course, they don't play that part of the game. They play the surface level story, which is funny because a lot of them were trying to say I was a tourist because I didn't play the story deeply enough. And I'm like, you've literally only played the surface level of the story. You've not played all the events and all the other stuff that's built into it. And that's where I just find a lot of these Yuri fans, I don't think they really play the game as much. They probably only play the stuff that's voice acted. Anything that's non-voice acted, they probably don't play, because that stuff would be too much for them to read. So I think that's all they do. They just play the voice acted stuff, and that's basically the surface level storyline and some of the events. But a lot of the other stuff, which you've got all the other side events, like the side story, like hidden stuff in the UI that you can do, and all the different relationship build-ups and all that. There's all those extra little components to the story that you can go through. I don't think they play through that. I really don't. Because you get a lot of extra context out of the characters from that. And that's what I think they do. I just don't think they even go past beyond that surface level. Which is typical, right? This is why I just generally have a great disdain towards the Yuri community, because they're constantly trying to infect every single medium, every single game, and they're constantly trying to force a headcanon that doesn't... They did it to My Hero Academia. I talked about it in last night's stream about My Hero Academia. They jumped on it and tried to force every character to be Yuri or gay or into something, and it was just like, that's not what the story's about, right? The story is just not about that, but they try and force it. So, I'm rambling.
Scarcity equals value, and something that comes few and far between in today's creative world are the based creators, those who don't bend the knee to artistic dictators, trying to appease or apologize to the mob.
It's actually kind of funny, because now speaking about this, one of the things I saw one of the people complain about when I was talking about Nikke was the fan service. They were like, oh, the outfits are highly problematic and they're bad, and the devs need to be called out for. I'm like, oh my god, you guys could just quit the bloody game. But no. And that's what I mean. They don't actually like the game for what it's marketed as. Yeah, there's good story that they might latch onto, but they don't even play a lot of the story. They go through the surface level. And that's what I mean. They go for the fan service and they go, oh, it's all problematic. And then they want to force their own weird headcanons. I'm a Yuri fan, but I don't push things onto others. Sounds like typical tourists that like to virtual signal like on Twitter. I mean, I don't have a problem with Yuri stuff in general. It's just one of those where it's just like, you deal with enough annoying Yuri fans, you really start to get a little bit like, whenever you see other Yuri fans, you just kind of, you're instantly like, you shiver. You're like, oh, is this going to be another one? Because that's the thing. There's a lot of genuine, like, chill Yuri fans, but there's so many of them that are just like so and especially on X or Twitter. I just wish they'd all go to Blue Sky and just go like hobble in that corner. But I think they end up getting run out of that corner as well, because people don't like them over there either. Instead of just playing something else, that's a sad... I mean, that's the thing, right? Because there was this person on Twitter, they were just whining about it. Oh, it's a Yuri game, they're scissing each other, get mad, code, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay, it's literally a game about robot butt chicks wanting to fuck a commander. That's how it's marketed. That's how it's sold to people. And they're like, oh, it's more than that, so clearly you're a tourist. And I'm like, yes. You really looked for the most nitpicky, well, actually, kind of thing at me. It was like, that's what it felt like. I'll find the meme, actually. Because it's a good meme. Oh, there's another one here too. But it reminds me of... I could use that one. But it reminds me of this. It just reminds me of this. When I'm calling it a booby gun game with waifus that want to sleep with the main. They're like, well, actually, it's got more story in it than that. And it's like, yes, everyone knows that. That's what it feels like to me when it comes to them. They're just doing the, well, actually, and it's like, and then all they do is they run the surface level of the story, and then they're calling me a tourist for them knowing the surface level. And I'm like, You've really only played the chapter stories, have you? You've not gone beyond that. They should go make their own game if they think they know what's best. They won't. Because no one will play their game. Because they'll just make everything weird and creepy. That's why they like to hijack everything. Like I said, I don't hate all Yuri. It's just... you get what I mean. So it's just like... It's one of those where it's just like... You get a repulsive annoying. Also, Spiritu, I'm guessing you know about the whole blue and red button situation. Oh, yeah, I've talked about it. The blue and red button. If you know what I'm talking about with the blue and red button thing, yes, I pick red. So many people got angry at me at that. They're like, you're selfish for picking red. And I'm like, why? It's a guaranteed I survive. If I pick red, it's a 100% chance of survival. If I don't pick red, then there's a chance I could die. And they're like, but it saves everyone if it goes over 50%. Like, you're assuming everyone picks over 50%. It's just like, I'm not going to take a chance. Duh. I think it's a Twitter thing. So, I think it's a Twitter thing. Because I find the most obnoxious Yuri fans are generally on Twitter. They really are. They're the most obnoxious. And they won't leave Twitter because they're so infested on there. Because that's their only little group. I just mass block them. I enjoy blocking them. Because so many of them block me. I think a lot of people in the Nikkei community block me. And I'm like, good. It doesn't change anything. The game's made for me. It's not going to change anything. I still get to buy all the merch. I get to buy all the figures. I get to still play the game. I still get to watch the content that I want. It's like blocking me isn't going to stop me from enjoying the game because the game is literally made for me and what my tastes are. They're getting moldy because the game isn't made for them. And it's like, well, blocking me ain't going to change the game. I don't main Twitter too many grandstanders over there that construct whatever they want and ruin anime and game. Oh, I agree with that. And I've been around long before they got involved. Now big mouths want to change it. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of these games. You've got... I mean, they jumped on Genshin when it came out. They jumped on Wuthering Waves. They've jumped on ZZZ. They're jumping on Arknight. Or they jumped on Arknights. I'm trying to say Enfield as well. But they're jumping on Enfield now as well. And even the Nikkei community, right? They're jumping on that as well. It's not as bad, right, in the Nikkei community. Because there is a lot of pushback. But they've clearly built their little cliquey group. And I think because Nikkei's become very popular recently, they've suddenly become infested on the Nikkei community. And they just latched on. And they're like, ooh, everything's Yuri. And I think that's the biggest issue. Is that once Nikkei loses its popularity and it kind of diminishes from like the wider scheme. Because a lot of people just play the game, you know, and ignore them. I think they'll move on to the next trend. Because that's what they do. They find something, they obsess over it, they force their headcanon, and then once it loses its trend, they move on to the next thing. You only need to remember the Genshin days, when Genshin Impact was a major thing, and every time an artist made a straight ship art, they jumped on it. Which is why I think a lot of Japanese artists don't make a lot of like straight Nikkei ships. art pieces because they know that group will attack them, which is kind of sad because there are some artists that can make some really good art of like the commander and like some of the Nikkeis, but they're kind of scared to, I think. So the only stuff that's allowed is the Yuri crap, and that's the problem. Japanese artists are scared to make the art that they want because of these Yuri-tards. It's so frustrating, right? Artists can't even express themselves. It's just annoying. And it's not all Yuri fans, but it's just that annoying, loud, obnoxious group. So I just think it's funny because I'll call them out, I'll laugh at them, I'll throw shit at them, and they mold at me and they go, "Oh, you're a terrorist." I've played the stories. I've played the events. I've gone through it all. I love the story. All the finer details. I love the world building. I love that subtle detail. Because if you played Stellar Blade, there's a lot of interesting parallels between Stellar Blade and Nikke. There's a lot of little interesting crossovers that Shift Up does. I don't think Shift Up cares about those people think and made Stellar. I mean, I don't think they do either. I generally don't think they give a shit about what the Yuri community thinks. And good. Because the Yuri community is constantly complaining about all the different skins and fan service. And it's like, good, mold harder. That's why I don't care that they get angry at me. Because at the end of the day, they can hate me as much as they want. I like pissing them off. Make that very clear. I like shit stirring. I like upsetting them. But I don't care enough that they're that upset that I'm shit stirring them, because at the end of the day, they can block me, they can hate me, but the game is made for me, the skins are made for me, all the merch is made for me, right? It's made to my tastes, and people like me. So at the end of the day, I win. I just get to enjoy pissing them off even more. And I'm going to keep trolling them. Oh, I'm going to troll the shit out of them. I'm going to enjoy it. Every time I probably get like Neon with a butt shot, I'm just going to be like, oh, guys, this game isn't about butts. And just get like a butt shot of her and just like close up on it. I'm just going to troll the shit out of them. Because I love pissing these people off. I love pissing them off. And again, that's not a knock on all Yuri fans. I watch a lot of Yuri stuff myself. I like that. But I just hate the idea. You have an idea for a game, what avid anime, what kind of story you want to make. Oh, I talked about that 2 streams ago. There's a game that I want to make that is inspired from the concept of Stellar Blade, Nikke, and Fire Emblem. I talked about it. I don't know if I'll ever actually make the game, but I really want to make a game where it's like Fire Emblem tactical turn-based game, right? But with a open world exploration system where the art style would look like Nikke, but it would be like Octopath Traveler in the sense of like open world, right? You can go to different cities, towns, places. The story would be in a sense linear-ish, but it would be open world. But I really want to make a game like that where it's an open world-ish style with a linear story, right? With Fire Emblem style game mechanics with like a waifu simulator kind of thing. I'd love to see something like that with a really good story that's like inspired based on the Nikke story, but very different. Or Stellar Blade as well, because Stellar Blade and Nikke share some very I mean, they're different, but they've got some similarities that kind of link them together. Like, there's some very heavy inspirations between Stellar Blade and Nikke. But at the same time, they're inspired, but they're different as well. Which is really clever how they were able to make 2 different games inspired. Well, one was clearly inspired from the other, but able to be different at the same time. Something like GTA then, with a better style. It'd be Fire Emblem with an open world movement system, and I'd like to see it like a Nikke thing where you can go from place to place to place. Right? It'd be really nice like that. I just think it'd be really cool, because the reason why I like the idea of I love Fire Emblem as well, and Fire Emblem has a massive Yuri problem as well, just to be very clear. So many annoying Yuri-tards in that community, but you've got this whole situation, you've got this like whole game mechanic where you've got games like Nikke, right? And the biggest issue that I have with games like Nikke, ZZZ, Genshin Impact, Enfield, and all that, is that you're limited on the roster of characters that you can have, right? So you can only have a certain limited amount of characters. The thing I like about Fire Emblem is that you can have a big roster of characters. So I like the idea of doing a waifu simulator type game, but with a Fire Emblem style game mechanics where you can have turn-based system because it's big fun maps, but you can also play around with heaps of different characters and mish and mash them together and build on them. That's what I like the idea of, right? Being able to play with more of the characters, because with games like Nikke, right, you can get all the fun characters you like, but a lot of the times you kind of got to, they kind of sit on the backbench a lot of the times. Like when you're doing the story, you'll generally use your main core team and you'll just steamroll through it. Yeah, there's some events and stuff that you can use where you kind of switch out some of the characters and stuff for different things with Nikke, but it's not like as a big of a roster. I'd love to see something where it's a much more bigger roster where you can play around with a lot more different characters. I don't remember the Yuri fans being so toxic. I mean, it depends on where you go on the internet. If you can avoid them, thank God for your sanity, right? Thank God for your sanity. But where they do fester in, they dig deep into it. They dig deep. I think that's kind of generic, overcrowded now. Go with another mechanic. What, Fire Emblem? I don't really think there's that many Fire Emblem style games, really. Right? Fire Emblem really doesn't get that many types of games. And it's weird. It really is weird that for how popular Fire Emblem has become, there really isn't that many of them out there. I think the thing that's oversaturated is the Genshin style open world combat style games. Those are very overly saturated. Fire Emblem needs straight shipping to unlock second gen characters. I mean, yeah. I mean, they outright put that through, that, yeah, you need straight ships. Like, sure, there's occasionally you can have, you know, some of the LGB, you know, straight gay or lesbian ships, right, in Fire Emblem, some of the newer games. But to get second generation characters in the games that do allow second generation characters, it's all straight ships. So, but I would love to see a Fire Emblem style game that goes down the route of like having like a big roster of waifu type games, like Waifu Simulator with skins, because Fire Emblem doesn't really do a lot of skin type stuff. So I feel like the opportunity of doing that would be really cool. I think there's a lot of room for that. But, yeah. I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but it's just, I'd love to see something like that in a game like that. Or I'd like to see a game made like that, right? Because with Fire Emblem, a lot of it is quite linear. I like the idea of you going through a story and you can kind of like do side stuff as well, and it kind of like has a bit more depth behind it. It's very much... Because the only downside about Fire Emblem is that the story feels sometimes very shallow with some of the Fire Emblem games. Like, you get through it and it feels very quick and dry. I would like to see a Fire Emblem style game that is way more in depth, like way more story to bite into. But also, and that was the thing I said on the other stream, was that it would be post-apocalyptic. It wouldn't be sword, shields, magic. It would be guns, rocket launchers, lasers, drones, shields, armor, all different types of like fun, different kind of stuff, right? So I'd love to see that kind of spin on a Fire Emblem type game and how you would balance it. I think that'd be really good.
Which is a thankless task. Those who don't compromise their vision just to cater to a wider audience, or simply just knows how to say no.
No.
No?
No!
To be honest, if you push a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, you would end up actually lowering the audience, because, again, a lot of people just like playing your fan services type games. That's what they're made for.
Someone in recent years who is an example of this is the creator of Lollipop Chainsaw.
I haven't played Advance Wars. I probably should at some point, but Xenoblade has some great stories. Oh, Xenoblade's got great stories. It really does. Xenoblade has some of the really good, well-written stories. You might like the Unima series, but it's more visual novel, SRPG that doesn't have dating aspects. I mean, I don't mind games with no dating aspects in it. It doesn't have to have dating aspects. It's just good stories. If you're talking about turn-based strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem, there is those as well. Okay. I do feel like Fire Emblem is an untapped market. Like, there's some games out there that delve into Fire Emblem style mechanics, but it's not as tapped into. I think the one market that is heavily overly tapped into is just like Genshin style combat. Too bad the third Xenoblade game has localizer BS. Yeah, that's the problem. They get into those games and they start destroying it. Yeah, Advanced War needs a commander that can fight. I don't know if I would have a commander character in the Fire Emblem style game, right? It would just depend. But yeah, I like I said, I would love to see a post-apocalyptic style story in a Fire Emblem style game mechanics with an open world style movement system like Nikke and Octopath Traveler, right? You can go through the world, discover little hidden things, not just like finding like cash and gems and soundtracks and stuff, but a little bit more to it than that, right? You can go through and discover hidden places and maybe go find like, you know, maybe grind different areas, right? You could kind of treat it a little bit like Pokemon in some sense. What I mean by Pokemon is like if you go into a cave, right, or into a dungeon or into like a fortification or a bunker or something, or certain locations that you could classify as like high combat zones, it could be one of those where it's like as you're sifting through it, it has a chance of spawning a battle that you can either try and avoid or you can try and do, and there'd be like rewards and stuff, so you can go into areas and try and like farm stuff and grind stuff like the old, like, you know, genuine RPG, Japanese RPG style games. But Fire Emblem, I think you could do some really interesting, cool mechanics as well if you did a Fire Emblem. Did you once said that Fire Emblem Awakening was bad? If so, can you explain your thoughts? I have not stated Fire Emblem Awakening is bad. I think you might be thinking of Mitsu, if you know who that is. He's not a big fan of some of the more recent Fire Emblem games. He likes more of the older ones. I like some of the newer ones. I mean, some of them have issues. How mad at you this time? Oh, they're pretty mad. They're pretty mad. They're pretty mad. I love when people get mad at me. Because what I do is I piss them off, I shitstorm, and then I block them. And it's this thing is, you got to understand psychology. They always want to have the last say. So when you block them, they'll whinge about it. They'll call you a coward, but they're molding. They are molding. It's peak cinema. At the end of the day, I just go to sleep and I just wake up and I just enjoy it. Because none of these people are serious. They don't leave outside their basements. They live at home with their mummy and daddy. They live off of welfare with their parents. They probably go to uni and absolutely waste all their life and money and bringing themselves into massive in debt. A lot of those like Yuri kids that I know on X, most of them are like, they live in like California and they have like parents that they live with. I know that because I've spoken to some of them and they've openly admitted, they're like, oh yeah, they live at home with college and they just got like massive debt. And if they don't, they live in like third world country where they can barely survive. And they're like trying to like lecture you. It's like, maybe you should focus on your life before trying to talk down to me about Yuri shit. Why are they mad this time around? It's because I said Nikke is a butt gun game where the girls want to bang the commander. And they got mad at me and said, you're a tourist because the game's got more than that in it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's got more than that in it. But it's marketed as a butt game with guns, lasers, rocket launchers, and they all want to sleep with the commander. Duh. Have you not played the recent stories where Anise is literally sitting there saying, oh, commander, if you want to shut me up, you can use your lips. It's like it constantly throws remarks. I mean, Rappy is constantly talking about how she has a kid, even though technically we could argue if that's really her kid. But technically it isn't. Technically, I'm talking like, you know, actually giving birth to a child. But Rappy's going around telling everyone, yeah, I had a kid with the commander. It's like all these robot chicks want to sleep with the commander. And they're like, oh, no, there's more to the story than that. They want to scissor each other. Yes, because Anise and Rappy really want to go into a back room together. They're more interested in fighting over wanting to get on his jollies. Nikke is a butt game, though. It is! That's the thing! Nikke is a butt game. It is a butt game with guns and women. that want to sleep with the main protagonist. And they got mad at me for pointing that out. And they're like, oh, well, actually, there's more to the story than that. Yes, there's more to the story, but it's still marketed as that. What do you want me to ignore what it's marketed as? It's like they want you to ignore the main premise of how they sell the game to you. And then when I point that out, they admit that I'm right. They're just mad that I said it. Because the thing is the people that are mad at me for saying it are the ones that are trying to say that the game's more about Yuri. And it's like, well, the game's not about Yuri. It's literally catered towards men. Straight men. Straight men, because it's not just white men. It's men in general, right? You know? It's aimed at men. And they're, like, angry at that. Because they're like, oh, it's Yuri. So, I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, you can recognize that and realize it has it has a great story. I play the story. I love it. I don't really talk to a lot of people about the story because there's not really many people to talk to about the story in the community. And that's also because a lot of the Nikke fans, the Yuri ones, they all have me blocked. So I just block them back just to annoy them. Which is fine. I don't really care to, and that's the thing. They say to you, they go, oh yeah, well, you don't play the game because you don't talk about it every day. It's like, yeah, I don't need to talk about a game that I play in my personal time 24/7. I've been playing World of Warcraft for the last several months. I don't talk about that on X. Right? I play Fire Emblem, I play Nikke, I've been playing Enfield. I've barely talked about Enfield on X, but I've played it. I've got a lot of the newer characters. I've started playing over the last couple of weeks, but I've been playing that a fair bit, right? But I don't talk about it, because I don't need to talk about everything that I play online. I don't need to obsess over it and try and look for... And this is the thing I hate about these types of people, is they play the game and they need people to pat them on the back for them playing the game. They're like, oh, guys, I play Nikke. Can you pat me on the back? It's like, I just play the game and enjoy it. And you say, oh, why do you do... I just want to do some of the summons on stream because it'd be fun to do. But it's not like I talk about it 24/7, right? I'll show some of my gems, say, oh, I'm looking forward to the next, event. How long have you streamed? An hour. But most devs don't know how to make good open world Ubisoft. I mean, yeah, most games don't know how to make good open world because a lot of the times the biggest problem with open world is they either try to do too much in it or too little in it, and it ends up feeling dead, right, inside of that open world. To be frank, Blue Archive has built a gatekeeping. Blue Archive is very, very tight when it comes to gatekeeping. I mean, you only need to look at the recent drama. They do not put up with shit. I wish Nikke was more heavy on gatekeeping. Because I'm going to be honest, they've let too many Yuri fans in now. And now it's just getting infested with Yuri fans. But I'm just going to block them. I don't play the game to get patted on the back by them. So I can just play the game and enjoy it. And it's not like a lot of those Yuri fans pay for the skins and shit. So they're not the main market. That's funny because no one personally knows I play. Yeah, I mean, it was funny because people only just realized that I was playing Nikke the other week, and they're like, wait, you played the game? And I'm like, yeah, I've been playing it for ages. And they're like, oh, well, you don't talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to talk about everything that I watch and play. There's a lot of animes that I watch I've never made a video on. There's a lot of a lot of mangas I've read, never made a video on it. This whole idea that you have to make a tweet or a video or some type of content on everything that you consume is so weird. And it's so creepily parasocial that if you play a game, it's like you have to make an announcement like you're at a fucking airport, right? That's the thing that I really hate about gaming and anime is that if you play a game, you have to make a, announcement like, excuse me, people, I'm playing current trending game. Please give me attention. Please give me attention. It's like, that's how annoying it is. It's that you have to constantly look for gratification for playing a game. And that's what these Nikke fans do, right? They go, oh, I have to make my entire life about playing the game. And then they jump to the next trend. It's like, no, I can play 6 games and you'll never know that I play it. Many people don't even know. I mean, I talked about it way long ago. I was like, oh yeah. Someone was asking, oh, do you play any space games? And I was like, oh yeah, I play Stellaris. And they're like, wait, you play Stellaris? I was like, yeah, play it all the time. I've got 3,000 hours on that game. And they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't need to make an announcement every day that I'm playing the game. Right? So I think that's the biggest issue with these people, is that they feel that they need to tell everyone that they play a game. You don't need to tell everyone. No offense, but, and I'm just being blunt here, no one really gives a fuck that you play a game, right? Unless you're like a Let's Play channel, no one generally gives a shit, right? I jump on Nick, I do some summons, and then I close it. Because I'll play the story off stream. Because I like playing the story off stream. But I don't need to make a big deal about it and be some VTuber and do some fake sobby shit. I just like doing some summons, you know, have some fun, show if I get lucky or not, laugh at my expense if I suck with the luck, or cheer if I get good luck, and that's about it, right? If Neon ever got a niece, her background, also her gotcha. I mean, I'm interested to see if Neon gets an interesting skin like what Anise got. But Anise is really popular out right now, so she got the 2 skins. I got both skins. So I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of these Yuri fans, is that they're not playing the game because they like the game. They're playing the game because they want everyone to know that they're playing the game so that they can be pat on the back with likes. And that's the biggest issue, is a lot of people are just playing the game because they want to be liked in a community. And so these Yuri fans, they jump from trend to trend to trend because that's what they have to do. They all have to obsess about Yuri stuff, and rather than playing an actual Yuri game, because the actual Yuri games aren't popular. That's the problem. It's the same thing with the current anime that's airing right now. And this is a really good example, by the way, of the biggest issue with Yuri fans, right? This anime right here, I'm trying to see where the actual Yuri anime is. Because there is an anime that's currently airing that is Yuri. Someone might pick it up on it, but there is an actual anime that's currently airing that is Yuri based. None of the Yuri fans are actually talking about it, right? In the anime community. But you know what they are talking about? You want to know what the actual Yuri fans are talking about? This anime. They're whinging about this anime because it's 2 girls that are into 1 guy. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're obsessing about. That's what they're attacking. But guess what? They won't even go and watch the actual Yuri anime that's currently airing. I just don't know where it is, because again, I'm not watching it. But people were pointing it out. And they were saying, yeah, there's a current anime airing right now that's Yuri based. And they were like, why don't you go watch that? And they're like, no, we have to obsess about the current trending romance that's a guy and some girls. It's like, again, go watch the Yuri anime. Nope, we can't do that. Why? Because they need to be part of the current trend, then they hijack the current trend and then force their headcanon on it. So, did I miss the stream part about Chibi? I was sure you would talk about the Chibi news issue. To be honest, I don't really want to talk too much more about Chibi's situation. One, because I've talked about it so much over the last couple of days. But I have kept up to date on Chibi's situation, right? With the whole he's moving and everything. I have a lot of mixed thoughts about that whole situation, just because, one, I'm happy that he's moving, right? I think if he's able to move and not have people know where he lives, that's great, right? Just make sure you don't dox yourself again. But I think the biggest issue people are drawing up is the GoFundMe thing, because he's not talked about his past GoFundMe. He's only talking about the current GoFundMe to pay for the traveling. I'm like, that as far as that goes, I'm just going to explain the drama behind that. My opinion is mixed on it. At that point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to pack that up and just talk about other stuff. So I'm going to talk about Yuri fans being obnoxious, because I feel like whinging about them, because it gives me my moment of entertainment for a couple of hours, and then I'll go back to finishing watching the current episodes of this. But yeah, Yuri fans, they're annoying. But it's true, by the way. When this got the trailer, they jumped on this and the Yuri fans attacked it. They attacked it. And I'm not saying all Yuri fans again, right? We all know I'm not talking in absolutes when I'm talking about this stuff. If you think I am, you're an idiot. Go away. But I'm not talking in absolutes. But there is such a noxious, noisy group of Yuri fans that attack this series. Spirited, can you scroll up to my comment about what I said earlier? Because I'm not sure if you've seen it. I probably haven't. Chat's starting to get more active now that people are jumping in. It takes like a good hour. I only joined Nikkei because of the Stellar Blade collab because of Raven. That's a good point to join. That's a good point. My friend got into Nikkei last year, and I kind of followed suit after that. And I've been loving it. I've been playing the story, obsessing about it. But I don't talk about it on social media as much because I just enjoy it in my silence, right? Right, I do anime content for a reason. I'll play some games on stream, right? I'll show some of my summonings and stuff just for a bit of content, for a bit of fun, laugh at my expense. But I'm not going to obsess over it and be like, oh, I've got to stream Nikkei every day. No. I generally just like talking about anime. That's what I do on here, right? But I just find it annoying. It reminds me of like Solo Leveling fans or One Piece fans or Dragon Ball Z fans, right? They obsess about one specific anime and their entire existence about it. Me, I watch hundreds of animes, play heaps of games, right? But I don't need to tell everyone about it. Yeah, I'll talk about some of it and we'll have a fun discussion and stuff. But I don't need to I don't care if people don't pat me on the back for playing a game, right? I don't need people to give me gratification for playing a game. And that's the problem that I think is the problem with these Yuri fans is, again, what I was emphasizing before and I was getting to, is they're not playing the game because they enjoy it. They're playing the game because they want the community to pat them on the back for playing the current trending thing. That's the problem. That's the problem. And that's why I use this example of this anime, right? They came after this anime, they attacked it because it's not Yuri, but there's currently a Yuri anime currently airing, and they won't watch it. They won't watch the actual current trending Yuri anime this season, but instead they focus on this anime because it's not Yuri, because it's trending. And that proves the point. They're not watching stuff because they like it. They're watching it, or they're trying to fake consume it, LARPing as consumers, so that they can latch onto the current trending thing and say, no, this current trending thing has to change to what I want. And it's like, okay, but you could literally go watch the thing that's made for you. And they go, no, because I want my thing to be more popular than your thing. That's what they care about. It's a popularity contest, not an actual authentic experience that they want to watch. And I know that because I've gotten into argument with famous, or not really famous, but cosplayers that have been in sort of the public scene. And I remember it. If you remember an old clip on X, there was a chick that was cosplaying as the girl from Death Note, right? The goth girl, right? She was cosplaying as that, and she was interviewed, and they were talking about like different types of shows and things that she hated and stuff, and she was attacking SAO, saying, basically paraphrasing, that she didn't really like it because it basically fulfilled the male fantasy, right? And we called her out on X. I called her out because she was saying, oh, I want more of these specific shows. And we said to her, here are the shows that would appease to your taste, because she's saying there wasn't enough shows made for her taste in that interview. And so we pointed it out in the tweet. Then she replied to it and said, oh, that's not good enough. I want it to be exactly like this. And she ran a checklist of all the things she wanted in that show to have, which, by the way, was insanely picky. But she ran a list of what had to be in it. And then we went out and found 20 animes that specifically fit that category. And then she turned around and said, I don't care. I want it to be mainstream and it has to be the most popular anime. Then I'll watch it. And we're like, so wait, you don't even like the show because it's what you want. You want the show to just be more popular than the other shows that you don't like. And that was the problem. She didn't care about she didn't want to watch shows because she liked them. She wanted to watch shows because it was trendy. And so she wanted what she wanted to trend. That's all she cared about, was her favorite show trending. That was over a year ago she said that too. Yeah, I remember. I got very good memory on that. And we called her out on it. We basically exposed her for being nothing more than a tourist and a LARPer. And then she started mass blocking all of us once we exposed her for being a massive hypocrite. Because all she cared about was basically not watching what she liked. She just wanted her favorite shows to be more popular than our shows. That was it. She refused to watch anything that she liked unless it was mainstream. And I'm like, so you just want to feel like you're popular. That's it. She was that B-type chick in the high school that wants everything that she likes to be popular. That's why I always say a lot of these VTubers do not like anime. They're just riding off of the trend. Because if you understand how these chicks think, they're not watching anime because they like it. They're watching it because it's trendy. And that's exactly the biggest root of the issue when it comes to this kind of stuff. They're jumping on this stuff, which actually goes back to Mondo Sensei's video. They're jumping on this because it's the current trendy thing. They jump on it and then they attack it because they want it to change to what they want, what they like. I need to kind of draw it back to this because we were reacting to this and I'm 30 seconds in and we've been rambling for almost an hour. And I know everyone keeps talking about Chibi in the chat. Again, like I said, I have mixed feelings about the Chibi situation. I know that he's done the GoFundMe. I know about the swatting as well, which, by the way, again, swatting is bad. You shouldn't swat people because it's dangerous. I know a lot of people saying, yeah, but shouldn't he be on a whitelist? He probably is on a whitelist, but they've still got to go to his place and check if they're trying to swat him. But I'm just glad that he's moving, right? I hope he moves. I hope he gets that all sorted out, and then we can close that chapter of that life where he's able to be safe and secure. But as far as the GoFundMe stuff, yeah, that's a whole different conversation. That is just a massive web of gooey things that I'm not really good. I have mixed feelings about it. I've stated my feelings on the last GoFundMe. Again, I'm more than happy to be critical of Chibi, but it's just one of those where I'm just like, okay, bro, just move, find somewhere new to live, and close that chapter. Be safe. He needs to be safe. Just don't dox yourself again. God's sake. But yeah. But like I said, going back to this, it's just, I just wish people that want Yuri stuff, go watch Yuri stuff instead of trying to hijack everything. Because it's just annoying. I feel like all the VTubers that play Nikke brought in many of the Yuri fans because many VTuber Yuri bait with other VTubers and their audience. Yes, Greg. Yes, you are spot on. You are absolutely spot on. Because a lot of the big trending VTubers, they Yuri bait their fans because they pretend that they're in love with each other. Which I have heard rumors that... I have heard rumors that a lot of those VTubers do orgies. Allegedly. So it wouldn't put it past me that some of them do some stuff together. But the thing is about, I don't really like a lot of the VTubers. I'll be honest. I don't really like a lot of the VTubers. That's why there's a lot of VTubers that love me and there's a lot of VTubers that really hate me because I am not scared to call them out. Because I think the VTuber community has been hijacked by tourists, by fake anime fans, and they just generally jump on it. What's your take on Trash Taste podcast group? They're all idiots. I just watched the Shoe on a Head video as well, just before I started stream. But I just generally don't like... Yeah, oh, you didn't know that? Oh, there you go, Greg. Fun fact. Allegedly, a bunch of some of the really big VTubers, not in Japan, but in the West, have participated in orgies. Apparently, some of them went to a Twitch event and, yeah, participated in that. So, food for thought, if you ever wonder. And trust me, I know some of the names of the ones that are apparently on that list that did it. And you could probably guess which ones. I don't really need to say which ones. You could probably guess some of them. But, yeah. But I generally think there is a lot of VTubers that fake liking gaming and anime. When I see some of those VTubers, I can see right away from the way they talk, the way they act, the way they look at things. They are the types of chicks that would have bullied us in high school for liking anime and gaming. And to be very clear, by the way, I was dog ugly in high school. I was picked on in high school. I was very heavily picked on. I was ugly. I just found my old school photos. Dude, when I saw my old school photos, I looked at those and I went, Damn, that's nasty. That's nasty. That is a face that not even I could even want to look. I generally looked at it and went, you're ugly. You're one ugly little shit. And I just put it in the cupboard and put it under a bunch and just closed it and went, yep, I never want to see my ugly face again. I don't know how the hell I went from that to this. Puberty did me wonders. Puberty did me wonders, because my God, was I one ugly little shit in high school. I was disgusting. I would have spat in my face. I would have bullied myself if I was currently then looking at myself. I would have bullied myself, dude. I was that ugly. I was nasty. I was surprised even chicks looked at me a second glance, which is funny because some chicks did apparently find me cute. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you found me cute, because I was ugly. So... But yeah, Western VTubers, you find some of them that are like genuine. And there are some that I follow, Western VTubers, that are genuine anime fans, right? Genuine anime gaming fans. And I can tell right away if they generally are from listening to their content for a short period. I did a reaction stream last night on Words of Paradise, his video. And there's a chick that he collabs with. I call her the Big Booby Dragon chick. But her name is, or Sinai, right? You can just shorten it to Sinai. I was watching her stream, and I was kind of like, my brain does what it does. Most of you know, my brain goes autistic mode, and it starts hyper-analyzing. And I started, like, hyper-analyzing, like, her tone, the way she was talking, the way she was, like, some of the, like, her UI and everything. And I could see straight away, within, like, 5 minutes of watching her stream, I was like, she's a legit anime fan. She's legit an anime fan. Like, I could see within less than 5 minutes of watching Sinai's stream, I was like, that's an anime fan. That is a genuine anime fan. I watch some of the bigger Western VTubers, and I look at them and I go, you're the mean chick in high school that would have bullied us. That's instantly what I see in those VTubers. Then when I look at someone like Sinai, she's that nerdy type girl that would like anime. I don't know what she looks like, so I don't know if she's like the nerdy cute type or the more older, maybe like she's popular looking. It depends, but you can tell straight away from just watching her content, straight away from the tone, everything. She generally likes that. Does your eyes start going opposite directions when you start analyzing? You notice, don't you? You notice when I sit there and I watch stuff, my eyes just cross over and I just sit there and I'm like, when I'm reading chat, my eyes are like this, right? It's like that. When I'm reading chat, it's like that. And I just generally rest it like that. And I'll look like I'm like cross-eyed and I'll just sit there chilling. And then I have to sometimes shake my head and be like, try and refocus it again. But I do that. I do cross-eyed. When I'm reading a lot and I'm just focusing on the chat, I'll sometimes do that. But yes, I sometimes do cross my eyes.
Admitting to not having excessive creative restrictions in the name of DEI for their upcoming sequel. A move I knew I had to support by buying and playing the remake of the original on stream. I was trying, what's that anime, Keijo?
I remember they attacked this game as well.
I was trying to do something like that. Yeah, gotta love the bikini. Golly. But on the other hand, you have creators who sadly are unaware of the mentally ill part of the internet and become victim to what we know as the cancel mob. A mob made up of adult children who are ruled by underdeveloped emotions. And if you think apologizing and catering to them will temper the outrage you receive, this is sadly not the case. And it's become known on the internet in recent days that the mangaka of Go for Nakamura has received overwhelming harassment and death threats, all for having a scene these types deem offensive in her story, who right now should be glad celebrating
Apparently going cross-eyed when you focus is pretty normal. Okay.
that her manga got adapted into an anime currently airing for this season, but instead has been put into a state of depression because of this. To the point, she's quit X, Twitter, social media, and even considered quitting her series overall, or just not being a mangaka at all. Which is why I made my video, The Modern Western Fan is Too Immature for Anime.
This is the same thing that happens with artists too in Japan, right? They make art, the community attacks them for making said art, and then they quit. And then all you've got left is all the Yuri fans that are making their own art and going, oh, look, we're the dominant community. Because anytime someone makes what they don't like, they attack it. They attack it so much. This is a common problem that happened during the Genshin Impact days, when artists in Japan would make straight ships of characters for Genshin and they would attack them. Hirohei used to cover it all the goddamn time. The cancel mob literally got no love from their parents, so they have to ruin other people's happiness to get validation online. It's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty much how they work when it comes to how they consume things.
Anime and manga. And instances like this just drives that point home more and more, and this is her last statement before leaving X. I just get complaints about why the hell I draw something like this,
And yeah, I see your comment, Char. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They attack characters for looking attractive. They attack characters for being straight. They attack characters for too much fan service. These people, they're parasites. And they're destroying our hobbies, but they don't even consume our hobbies, right? And that's what they do. That's how they do this. With this, they bully and they attack artists, manga writers, light novel authors, and they stop the ones that are passionate from making media. And then what ends up being left is all the tourists, all the fake fans that end up hijacking it, right? This is why we need to gatekeep. Gatekeep, gatekeep, gatekeep. We need to fight against them. That's why I have no problem blocking them and putting them on blast and just screen dumping them, right?
I don't have the ability to create something that makes everyone as happy as their...
And again, if you like Yuri stories, that's great. If you like Yuri on Ice, you like Yuri-based stories, that's great. But it applies to this same situation. Go watch the Yuri stories out there. There are plenty of them out there. But don't jump on other stories that are non-Yuri based and hijack it and attack them because it isn't trendy, like your favorite Yuri story isn't trendy. Then go support it. Because that's the biggest issue. It's not all these, like, you know, most of these Yuri fans, like many of you in my chat, it's those really obnoxious ones that attack things that are non-Yuri based, try and destroy it, and then all that ends up being left over is Yuri slop because that's what they end up only allowing. These people are insufferable because they don't even then consume most of the Yuri stuff. They just jump onto the next thing they can destroy.
They're respected. So there's no point in being manga anymore, is there? I thought I should at least say goodbye.
And I do think authors need to build a bit more of a backbone, right, between genuine fans and fake fans, but it can sometimes be really hard when you're getting attacked on the internet, right? When you're getting bombarded with so many hate comments, it can really, really, really hold you back. It can make your day feel really shit. And that's why I think in Japan, there's a very different culture that I think a lot of people in Japan are just not used to the toxicity from the Western consumer base. They're not used to it, I don't think. Because the Western consumer base in those specific toxic areas are very vile and very vicious.
But they're telling me to get out of here as soon as possible, so I'm leaving before noon. Yeah, I really hate these people. These are just insects that infest fandoms, and I hate that Japanese creators have to put up with them. But I also like to thank those who choose to stand up to the mob, who serves as a beacon for others to follow, showing that they don't wield as much power as they think they do. Kei Udina, mangaka of Gachi Akira, who has a deranged part of her fan base, is someone who seems doesn't take any shit from these weirdos. So when someone tried to diss her and her mentor,
Exactly, and these voice actors that are unhinged, some fake fans who complain about lollies being in anime, you need to go play something else or watch something else that caters. Yeah, that's all they have to do. Just go watch and play something that you enjoy, but they will not do it. And I've noticed it's also starting to happen with the Zelda community. It's always been a problem, but it's getting worse now. You're getting a bunch of these like Zelda fans that are jumping on stuff, and they're trying to push a lot of this like annoying gal boss kind of stuff. Right? And they're trying to like attack Link and all these characters and trying to force weird changes and all this is problematic and that's problematic. Like there's not much they can really go after with Zelda because it's a very cut and dry basic story. It's not like they can force any Yuri stuff in it because unless they grab like Link and Ganondorf, which is just weird, right? But there's a lot of those situations where they're jumping on the Zelda franchise. And a great example is actually Words of Paradise. He talked about on his stream. Because there's rumors that there's going to be a remake for the Ocarina of Time game. there's a lot of concerns when it comes to the, I call it the desert people, right? You'll probably know who I'm referring to, right? The desert people. Their specific design is very, very specific, right? There's specific characteristics with their body and their facial and the architecture and the music. And people are concerned that they're going to push for censorship when it comes to Zelda. Not like the character, but the game itself, the franchise, when they do that remake. And I'm generally concerned because, again, those character designs, those artistic directions, they're great. They're awesome, right? It takes inspiration. Some people say, it's racist and problematic. I don't give a shit. Don't touch it. It was great. If he takes offense to it, grow a backbone. Stop being a baby. Yeah, the Gerudo. Yeah, I just call them the sand people, the desert people. But yeah, the Gerudo. But yeah, there's different versions of Gerudo depending on which games you play. But you go through the Ocarina of Time one, there's a very distinct artistic direction that they went with there, right? The newer Zelda games, the Gerudo, they have a very different style, right? But with the older ones, I just hope they don't change it. But I'm concerned that they might grab the modern Gerudo look and shove it over the old one. I hope they don't do that. Leave shit alone. If you want to upgrade the polygons, fine. Maybe add in the air temple, the sky temple that you missed out on that you originally were going to do in the game. Maybe okay, but don't change the game beyond right, that kind of stuff. I'm very concerned about the rumors of it, but we'll see. Because it's clear that Nintendo probably wants to jump on nostalgia as well when it comes to Ocarina of Time, because Ocarina of Time is very nostalgic. Gerudo are perfect as is, no change needed. Oh yeah, they're perfect, right? Old version and new version. I like both versions. To be very clear, I like both versions. I think they're both really cool. I've loved playing the newer Zelda games. I would say out of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is just a step above the rest when it comes to Breath of the Wild because of the open world and the story. They did a better job, but I still kind of wish they went old school dungeons. But it was better, but I would have liked to see more old school dungeons. And that's what I'm hoping they'll go towards, do some Ocarina of Time style worlds, because I don't really like all the annoying mechanical stuff. It was like, it's fine, but I kind of am tired of all that specific art style. I want like old school Ocarina of Time art style and looks. Espiritu, which you recommend my anime list or live charts? I recommend live charts, because live charts gives you a timer. Now the timer isn't perfect, but at least it gives you an idea of roughly when it's going to come out. But yeah, I look forward to seeing a more old school style Zelda game with proper dungeons and everything. I miss dungeons. I like the idea of going to a town, buying my bombs, buying my arrows, getting some health potions, or going to the fairies and collecting some fairies and getting myself all equipped up and getting some mana potions or health potions, whatever the hell I need, right? You know, equip myself up, and then going into a dungeon and being like, all right, we're going to dungeon crawl. We're going to discover this dungeon. I kind of want them to take Ocarina of Time style dungeons and expand on it even more. I want them to add even more layers to it, more interesting puzzles, more interesting fight mechanics, because they've got that modern technology and ways of doing things, and they can spice things up, add more. The problem with a lot of the, I wouldn't even call them dungeons in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdoms, is they're not really dungeons, right? They're a very small puzzle, and there's very little monsters in them, right? There's maybe a couple of corrupted eyes and maybe one little monster there. No, I want to go through a dungeon where you go into a room, you get trapped in that room, and then there's a skeleton dude, and you're like, ah shit, I gotta beat him. Better get that shit out. Woo, and the music starts and everything. I love that, right? I want that back. Doesn't mean every game has to be like that, but I want some old school Zelda game, right? You go into the dungeons, it's creepy crawly, the music, the atmosphere, right? Like let's get the music out, right? Zelda Forest Temple music, right? Let's get the OST out, right? God, I hope if I disappear, fuck you Nintendo. Fuck you Nintendo, all right? If you do this to me, screw you. I want music like this. I want shit like this. I want the same atmosphere. I want the same creepiness, the same feel. I want that back. I want that idea of going into a dungeon and digging deep in there and solving puzzles and fighting for your life and feeling like it's a challenge, right? The puzzles, sure, as you get older, they get easier. But I want to be able to go into a room and monsters come at me, and instead of just one skeleton, it's two skeletons, and they're faster and they're more dangerous and they've got different movesets. And I just want... You have the ability now, Nintendo, to make really interesting combat scenes, to make really interesting fight mechanics with different phases and different systems going on, and you can add tools to make those fights interesting and unique, right? I don't need the weapon durability system, right? Like Majora's Mask. Soundtrack Majora's Mask is phenomenal, but it's like I want this feel again. I want that dungeon, that deep, creepy crawly. I think it has copyright, and you know how Nintendo and their ninjas, well, they can suck my Nikkei. They can gadobble on my gadobbles. But that's what I want. I want some of that, right? I've seen VTubers play the Zelda music in the background and having no problems, so they better not bloody come down my ass. Otherwise, I'm copyright striking them. But yeah. I want old school dungeons back.
Kubo, creator of Soul Eater and Fire Force, by saying Soul Eater.
Tears of the Kingdom dungeons are great. Oh, they are. They're a lot better than Breath of the Wild. I just want old school dungeons like Ocarina of Time, right? I just want to go back to some of those old ones. But Tears of the Kingdom dungeons are actually good, right? They're much better. I just want some old nostalgia, right? I want some old school Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask style dungeons. Just want some of those, right? Also, the original Fire Temple music was peak. Oh, God, yeah, that was peak too. Also, the Sarah song. I used to listen to that Sarah song all the time. I don't know. As a kid, I kind of had a crush on Sarah. She was just adorable. You know, that kind of heartfelt memories. I would love to see if they did a game like that and they added characters like that. You could kind of have a little bit more, like, moments with those characters and feel like more bonding with them. I wish if they did an Ocarina of Time like style game, it was a bit more story driven. But I have a lot of fond memories of Ocarina of Time. A lot of fond memories growing up as a kid. Still got the game. It's in the spare room in the box. I've still got the game. My mother used to... It was actually kind of funny because when I got the game, I was, you know, I couldn't read and write, right? I sucked at reading. So my mother used to read the story for Ocarina of Time right up until I defeated the tree, because she would basically let me play the game for an hour of... Like, she'd let me play the game for an hour of her reading stuff. And then I got to the point where I completed the first, technically, dungeon. It was the Deku Tree. And I just finished talking to the owl, and my mother was like, "Oh yeah, I'm done reading. You can play a different game." And I was like, "I just finished it. So I want to see what happens next." And she's like, "Well, if you want to keep playing the game, I'm not going to read any more for you." And I was like, "Oh." So I ended up playing the game without her reading it. And I did not really know jack shit about the story when I was playing it as a kid, because I just couldn't read it. But it was the atmosphere, it was the music. And even though I couldn't read it, I kind of knew what was going on in the story, because everything else, all the visuals were so well done. Which Zelda you think has the best story? I don't know. There's a lot of strengths and weaknesses for all of them. Like, Majora's Mask really does a good job at storytelling on micro scales, right? There's a lot of small stories when it comes to all the individual masks and all the individual people and all the little things going on. Because you've got that 3-day window, they packed a lot of story into that 3 days where everything is going on and all these different people's lives. Like, it's a very vibrant, growing world because there's 3 days. There's different things going on each day. Characters are doing different things each moment, right? So the story from that aspect is very deep. because there's so many little things going on that you learn about and all these different like components and moving cogwheels. Ocarina of Time story, I feel like is a lot more full on in the sense like you're going from dungeon to dungeon, cave to cave, area to area, and the yapping owl. Oh my god. You know how many times I've accidentally clicked on that fucking owl continuing to talk and it's like yap, and you're like, come on. Do you want to continue? It accidentally clicked yes. And you just want to slam it. You're like, God damn it. And then you got to slam through that shit again. I've done that like 5 times in a row and I've just like literally walked away. I'm just going, I just want to get, at a point you learn, you're like, okay, slow down. Okay, click, boom. Oh, horrible. But with Ocarina of Time, the story there is there's a lot of like characters and stuff, and because it's got like the kid version and the adult version, it's got an interesting way of telling the story of like the past and the present and right, or the past or the future, or however you want to look at it, and all the different characters and how the world is impacted because of what happens with sort of the calamity kind of thing. I really like the Ocarina of Time story because the visuals is very intense from like when he's a kid to when he's an adult. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom story is good, but it feels very shallow at times. It just feels it's more about the world and less about the story. Like the story for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is much more shallower. But if you had to compare to Tears of the Kingdom to Breath of the Wild's story, in my opinion, is bare bone. It is bare bone. Like you've got to do all the like the hidden little, find the little story nuggets, and it tells a really cool story, right? It's very good in what it tells, but it just feels like it's much more smaller, right? And because you've got to go look for them all and then piece all those stories together, it's not consistent. It's all just like fragmented and you've got to go look for it. It's not part of the story in the world as you're doing it. Ocarina of Time, as you're doing each dungeon, as you're doing each cave or each part of the story unravels in a proper synchronized order, but then you've also got other little things going on in the world, right? So it feels natural. It feels like it flows better. As much as I like Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild story to a point, I think Breath of the Wild story is the weakest. Tears of the Kingdom is much stronger than Breath of the Wild's, but it still lacks structure, consistency, and depth compared to things like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. It just lacks that. And it's the same with like, I forget the other one. I'm having a brain fart. It was on the Wii, right? Oh, I forget what it's called. Someone will get it in chat. I'm having a brain fart. But that one, that also had really good story as well. But I'm just more nostalgic to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask because that was when I first got my Nintendo 64. Twilight Princess. Yeah, that's a good story too. That's a very good story, right? I when I look at the best Zelda stories, I kind of look at those, right? Those 3. I really like them. I have not played Skyward Sword. I actually haven't. I really need to get off my ass and play that at some point. I really do. But I think there's like a remake for that. I really need to go get a copy of it at some point and actually play it. I think when it came out, I was very sick and I didn't really have time to play it. So I didn't end up getting it. So I really need to get it and play it. Now that I'm healthy again, I can actually have some time set aside to play those games. Because yeah, I think it came out really at the worst time for my health and I wasn't able to get there and get the game and play it because I would have loved playing it. Minda is best Zelda companion. Yeah, I mean it's very, very good. I just want an old school like style Ocarina style game again, right? Structured, dungeon crawling, that kind of thing. Have you read the Twilight Princess manga? No. I do see it in the stores a lot. I did debate on getting it. The remake is way better than the HD remaster is better because they improve a lot. Okay. I will have to get Skyward Sword at some point. I will have to get it. because like I said, yeah, I was really sick at the time when it got its remake, so I kind of want to get off my ass and actually go play that at some point. I'd have to. I will want to get a physical copy. So, let me have a look. EB Games. It's probably the only place I'll be able to bloody get the game. Let's see. Buy one, get half price, pre-owned. I wonder if there's any in my local store that I can. I mean, it's about $54. Oh, it's out of stock. I might have to try and find it somehow. I might actually, yeah, I might look into it some more, right, and try and find. Because what am I I'm looking for the remake, not the HD remastered, aren't I? Right? Just to make sure I know. Let me check. How do you feel about Final Fantasy? I like Final Fantasy. Because there's like two different... Oh, yeah, there's the Wii U. There's the HD. But isn't there like a different version? I remember chat saying there was a remake. Or is it just, it's just called HD? So is HD the remake for Skyward Sword? Or is it something else? Because it says, when I go to buy it, it says HD. By the way, I hope you didn't take those comments in bad faith. I felt it was a bad argument, no offense. I don't care. That's fine. Reddit's full of shit. Skyward Sword only has a HD remaster. Okay. Because I'm trying to... I was looking at... It's actually kind of funny because there's a pre-own of Skyward Sword HD Wii U, or the Wii game, but there is none for the Switch, which kind of sucks. But maybe if I ever get a chance of getting my hands on it, I might try. But yeah, if I get a chance, I will. I'll try and get it. The only remake I'm aware of is Majora's Mask for 3DS, which I actually have. I have the Majora's Mask 3DS game and for Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, but I also have the original games on the Nintendo 64 as well. So I have both versions.
Mid, your manga, mid, which she responded, Soul Eater, God, you go to work. Stinging so bad that she caused the user to delete the tweet, and it's just good to see that reversal once in a while where it's them and not the creator deleting their tweet or account. Maybe she learned some of this from Okubo himself, who dedicated an entire episode or chapter to those who bitch and complain about the fan service in his series. Check out my video on that explaining in detail if you're interested. Refugin Maganote, creator of Mushoku.
Do you have Mario 64 though? No, I don't, actually. I have a lot of games, but not a lot of those ones. Like, I have, like, Perfect Dark. I have, GoldenEye. I have The World Is Not Enough. I have Ocarina of Time. I have Majora's Mask. I have Mario Kart. I have Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. I have Pokemon Yellow because I have the expansion pack. So I got Pokemon Yellow so I could actually play it on the thing. Because I remember when I actually got Pokemon Stadium And I actually was able to convince my mom to let me get Pokemon Yellow because she was like, well, I'm not going to buy you a Game Boy game. But then I was like, I took her to the store and the guy's like, oh, yeah, no, you can get Pokemon Yellow and play it in your Nintendo. And so she finally got me Pokemon Yellow and I was like, yes, I get to play Pokemon Yellow on it. I have not played Mario Galaxy or Odyssey on the Nintendo 64. I have played Mario Party on like the Switches and stuff because my friend has Mario Party and all that kind of stuff, and I play that whenever I hang out with them. But I don't have any of the Mario games except Mario Kart on my Nintendo 64. I also have Pokemon Snap as well on the Nintendo 64. You know what, chat? Do you want me to go get my Nintendo 64 box? Do you want me to go get it? I'll go get it. It'll take me 10 seconds to get. I'll go get it. Give me a minute. I hope it's there. I lied. It was harder to find than I thought. I thought it was in the spare room, but it was actually in my bedroom, hiding in a cupboard. Ugh. It's an old box. Did I slip? I forgot where it was. I thought I knew where it was, but I didn't actually. Whew. It's got a bit of dust. She's a beauty. Old school. See? Just a regular one. Probably a bit dirty. See? Pokemon Yellow. I'll just get all the cables out. Let's have a look. So we got a bit bent. My cat ate the box. My old cat. But Bass Hunter 64, love that game, by the way. There's a really funny glitch in this game, I remember. If you drive the boat into a specific corner of a map, you'll go through the map. Funny as hell. This one came with the Nintendo 64, but I also loved playing it as well. And then The World Is Not Enough. And then my fate, sentimental. I know this is probably going to upset a lot of collectors, but I was a kid. Is it? Did I actually ever write in the back of it? Oh no, I never wrote notes in it. Okay. God, that's nostalgic. Oh. It's nostalgia for you. Old school 3D game. Oh yeah, good old classics. So Bass Hunter 64, you just drive it through the corner. It's like, boom, through the map you go, and then you just ride in your boat like in the middle of nowhere, and just like on like thin air. Ever played Clanker's Bad Day, Fur Day? I haven't, but I know a lot about the game. But yeah. I've had people offer me a lot of money for this. I've had a lot of offers of money. Rejected them all. So, I'll pack that back up later. But I've never really sold it because I've had a lot of like people have offered me a lot of money to buy it, but every time I get offered, I just think of all the nostalgia, and I don't know, I can't really put myself to wanting to sell it because it's sentimental. It's very, very, very sentimental to me. It has a lot of like just a value to me as a kid. But yeah. But yeah, there's my Nintendo 64. I didn't have a lot good condition boxes. You don't see many. I mean, they're all in pretty good condition. The only one that's scuffed is the Bass Hunter 64, which my cat ate at the corner. But pretty much all things considered, the books are pretty much, everything's pretty much in very good condition. I mean, it's got wear and tear because I was a kid. I played the games. I obsessed over them. I wasn't allowed to get new games until I finished them. But, I mean, I don't have heaps of games, but I have a lot of the big titles, right? A lot of those big titles. I mean, I got one of the only copies left over of Perfect Dark, which, oh god, I love that game. The original, like that Perfect Dark, love it. I played that a lot. I love the story for it. My mother had to import that from Japan, I remember, because they didn't have any left over. And so, yeah, they imported it from Japan. And she bought... That was, like, the last Nintendo 64 game I ever got. At all. It was the last one. Which was my first game. Technically, the one that came with the box, which was the Formula 1 game, technically. But beyond that, I actually can't really remember. I think it might have been Ocarina of Time was... No, it was. Ocarina of Time was the first actual game I got with it. Because I remember when I first played it. Because when I got the console, we didn't have the right ports for the TV. So when I got the console, I wasn't able to play the game on day one. So I had to wait for her to go to the shops the next day to go buy the correct cable so that we could then have it plugged in And I remember playing Ocarina of Time. That was the first game I was playing because I remember this. I remember what I was doing in there and how I was running around different places. Because I remember while I was playing it, some dumbass had his kids around, and it was like one of my mother's friends, family friends or something around, and they were like, this kid was like watching me going, "Oh, you playing the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, leave me alone. I'm playing my bloody Ocarina of Time." I was like a kid like with a new toy. I was like, "Piss off, you little shit." So, but yeah, that was the first game beyond what came with the base. Because what came with the base with that was Formula One, right? It came with the console. So the actual first game that I got with it was Ocarina of Time.
Tensei, who just by existing is based considering the backlash he gets all too often for his series, by the usual can't distinguish between fiction and reality types. But adding on to that, he recently stated on X, "By the way, I think if I can write what I love, I don't mind if it doesn't sell. If I'm going to publish it, I don't mind if it's not commercial. And in fact, if I'm satisfied just from having written it, I think it's fine not to publish it at all. But that's that, and this is this. Once I've decided to do it, a sense of duty arises." Which, props to him, because I know he gets harassed constantly on social media, but regardless, he sticks to what he loves and is passionate about and makes no apologies about it, something I highly admire, especially in today's climate. Dr. Stone, science supervisor, shared some words recently as well on the creative freedom that Japan has compared to other countries. And here are some things.
I'm just going to do it with the cat real quick. But yeah, I love Dr. Stone. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Things that stood out from his statements, but I'll leave a link to it in the description to read in full. Thanks to Twitter, X automatic translation is finally becoming widely known overseas.
I think Elon ended up removing that feature as well after they ended up implementing it, because people in Japan started calling out Westerners, and Westerners started crying because Japan started calling them out for their tourist behavior.
That Japan's
I need to catch up to the, well, I think the last final part of Dr. Stone is out now, so is airing.
freedom of expression reaches levels that are impossible in other countries. Heads can be severed, a young girl's arm can be gruesomely torn apart, and even adult-oriented content is treated with considerable leniency. Of course, opinions like that kind of expression is no good or it shouldn't be shown to children should also be freely voiced. But when you look through tweets from various countries and see just how horrific things can get once a government or administration starts regulating expression, it really makes you think we need to cherish the present even more. Because expression regulation by the state or administration always begins cloaked in an unassailable justice like protecting children or upholding public morals that no one can easily oppose. Before you know it, it turns into the right to erase anything that certain people just don't like. Even if it starts out targeting some extreme and violent expressions, once you hand the powers that be the right to draw a line on what's okay to depict, that standard will inevitably expand arbitrarily. For example, even works that tackle society's dark underbelly or scientific phenomena, like gruesome depictions that heighten the terror in horror stories or raw fictional portrayals of the horrors of drugs in the underworld, end up unable to convey what they truly should, dismissed with a single "that's inappropriate." Soon enough, only sanitized, flowery nonsense can be produced. It's a well-known story how a certain Hollywood monster movie got panned for absurd choices, like having the biting happen off-screen or no blood at all, making it feel utterly unnatural. So Japan's expression thrives in this very chaos. It's the soil of freedom. I love for not just creators, but consumers too, to all cherish and protect it together. I mean, that just says it all perfectly. This guy gets it, especially when they use tactics like "it's to protect the children," which only useful idiots fall for. But I'm so glad with the merging of Japan and American Twitter, they now can see what so many fans complain about when it
It was a good change. I don't know if they kept the change. I'm going to have to check after this stream and see if they actually kept the change where you can see people's tweets in Japanese. Because I remember someone saying that they reversed it, which wouldn't surprise me with bloody Elon. The one time he actually makes a good change, they end up reversing it. And I think they probably ended up reversing it because, again, Japan was calling out Westerners for being idiots.
Comes to creative freedom in their own
And it probably upset all the tourists.
countries, and why people cherish Japanese media so much, because at least on a wide scale over there, they still maintain mass creative freedom, not just in the independent market. When an animator working on One Piece accidentally or intentionally gave Nami a breast reduction, Toei made a correction by basically saying, no, the heavies stay.
Damn straight.
Based. The creator of No Game No Life recently responded to a user who gave advice of how to get around X censorship and avoid lolly detection, saying pubic or hair down below helps with this, and he simply stated, I firmly refuse.
I remember talking about this in a video. How are you? What's your day today? Today is the 1st of May, which is Friday, because it's 2 a.m. at night.
Absolutely refuse. The woman I draw don't have any wicked pubic hair growing on them. I'd rather break my brush than draw that.
I remember when he said that. I love that. It's such a good base take. It's like, we make good looking characters, go away.
Which also aligns with Studio Trigger responding to CD Projekt Red trying to censor Rebecca from Edgerunner, stating the lolly stays unapologetically.
CD Projekt Red first got the character design for.
They try and claim this wasn't real and that this was actually all false, but then every time it gets debunked and actually it was true. So it's really funny because a lot of people try to like deride these Western studios that try to like destroy shit and go, oh well actually they weren't trying to do that. I hate how, and it's also funny because the people that defend these multi-trillion-dollar corporations or billion-dollar corporations are the same people that will sit there and whine about the billionaires are evil, but they will cuck for these massive soulless corporations trying to destroy intellectual properties. It generally baffles me how these people exist.
For Rebecca, and they were like, she's a lowly. Lowlies don't exist in Night City. It doesn't fit the Cyberpunk 2077 aesthetic. But Trigger was like, no, the lowly must stay. And
Based, also leading to a fan favorite character. Kenichiro
It literally became a fan favorite. Like, they could do a season 2 and bring her back somehow. People would love it. What's my thoughts on what?
Takaki, creator of Sunrun Kagura, left Marvelous Inc. because of regulations on sexual imagery, creative restriction, making him feel stifled more and more as a creative, which shows he'd rather leave what he loved than contribute to its downfall, watching what he loves deteriorate right before him. A hard decision to make, but an honorable one at that, which I highly respect. Which also contributed to some of the best memes that sum up this whole entire theme of
There's no way she's coming back. Yeah, I know, there's no way, but to be honest, if they came up with some, like, magic ass pull where they're like, oh, yeah, like, apparently there was a rumor that season 2 is coming out, but I was like, I would love to see them somehow bring her back. I know it's, like, impossible, but it would be really funny if they did, because she was a good character.
This video. Even outside of anime, Quentin Tarantino, one of my favorite filmmakers, remains based regardless of current climate of political correctness. When an actress from his film Pulp Fiction recently came out and said his usage of the N-word is racist and creepy, which is just a desperate cry out for help, someone please hire me, Quentin simply stated, Dear Rosanna, I hope the publicity you're getting from 132 different media outlets writing your name and printing your picture was worth disrespecting me in a film I remember quite clearly you were thrilled to be a part of. Do you feel this way now? Very possibly. But after I gave you a job and you took the money, to trash it for what I suspect is very cynical reasons shows a decided lack of class, no less honor. They're supposed to be in a spirit de corps between artistic colleagues, but it would appear the objective was accomplished. Congratulations.
Oof, that's a burn. And to be honest, that's very common in the content creator space as well, where a lot of these people were more than happy to consume and enjoy this content when it was popular, but now it's politically correct to dislike it, right? They now suddenly dislike it. And that's why I call out people like Joey, Giggit, Connor, Mother's Basement, Glass Reflection, because these individuals used to praise these types of things and now they suddenly turn on these certain things because the political spectrum requires them to dislike it now. They're soulless. They're soulless husks that only care about chasing what the mob demands them to bend the knee to, and I have no respect for them. And I remember someone in chat before was asking about my thoughts on Trash Taste. I generally just have a disdain. You know what the funny thing is? I have a disdain for Trash Taste more and more and more the more I hate Hassan. Right? I cannot believe I grow to hate Hassan more each day, as he is one of the most vile, horrible people on the platform that is allowed to get away with unspeakable things. And yet, the more I dislike Hassan, the more I remember that Trash Taste invited Hassan on not once, but twice onto their podcast, knowing what he is like. That's where I lose respect for Giga. I understand people say that Giga's one of the better ones out of the three, but again, I cannot in good faith actually like them. Can you show me a few examples of Glass Reflection being anti? A good example would be the Rising of the Shield Hero, where he literally didn't know what the hell he was talking about. There's also was another review that he did, and I can't remember the anime off the top of my head, but Shield Hero was one of them, where it was very clear that he hadn't actually consumed it. And I remember the Shield Hero one pretty well, because I've had to deal with this problem regularly, where he would basically take... It was very obvious he was taking articles from other people and kind of just putting that as his own thoughts and opinions, right? He didn't really watch the show. He just went to someone else and went, oh, yep, this is my opinion. And he would make fundamental mistakes about what the show is about. And this is why I called this out several months ago. I'd probably say 6 months ago, where you have all these channels that constantly talk about Shield Hero, and they would criticize it for the exact same points, and they'd make the exact same faults and the exact same errors because they all echoed each other. And Glass Reflection was one of those that echoed that same narrative. Now, are all his reviews bad? No. There are some reviews that he makes that are generally somewhat good. They were articulated. But there are some where I'm just like, okay, it feels like you more had to rush out something just to jump on that current trend. And it's disappointing, because I'd say he is one of the better ones out of them all, but I generally have an issue when he does that kind of stuff, right? But he's one of the better ones out of them all. Yeah, that Hassan situation is great. Yeah, I mean, the fact is these content creators, they all are orbiters of Hassan, right? They all, they like him. Like, Connor's a big... clearly is a friend of Hassan. And that's why it's just really hard for me to have respect for Giga and Joey when they allowed Hassan to go on that podcast twice and then to politicize it twice. Right? And that's why I understand people say Giga's one of the better ones out of them, but I'm like, it's hard for me to overlook that. It's the same with Glass Reflection, right? I generally want to think the best of him because he's generally probably one of the better ones. But he's also done interviews that I've read where I've just sat there and rolled my eyes at it, and I could see from the interview that all he cares about is more about maintaining his audience, and he doesn't want competition. And that's the same thing with people like Mother's Basement. They don't want competition. They want to control the narrative. They want to control the medium, and they're scared of content creators like me that are building an audience, that are showing that we can have opinions that don't have to bend the knee to their woke Marxist, ideas. Because, again, it's not an apparent secret that Mother's Basement is very much a far leftist that pushes extreme, insane politics and is very anti-capitalist, which, again, you don't have to like capitalism, but the way he shoves it and hand-fists it into a lot of his videos and tries to sneak it in there when it's not needed and not warranted, it demonstrates a lack of professionalism, a lack of actual genuine interest in the medium, and he's more using his content as a vehicle to push political propaganda. I want all politics generally removed from a lot of these animes, from these content creators on the left and the right that are trying to politicize and weaponize animes. And that pisses off both sides, and that's fine, right? I'm not here to make friends and kiss people's feet, right? I'm here to clean shit up. I'm here to call them out for what they are. And so I will call every single last one of them out until they all clean their fucking acts up. And my biggest disappointment is in Trash Taste, because I never really watched Connor's content. I didn't even know about him until Trash Taste. But I used to watch Giga and Joey a lot. I still watch Joey to a point just to see what he does. But Joey's just basically backpedaled so much on his old content because no one gives a shit about him anymore. Joey's content has dropped so goddamn fucking hard because no one gives a shit about his trend chasing anymore on his main channel. So he's pivoted over to his second channel where he tries to talk about pop culture, trendy topics within the Japanese anime community. But it's very clear that he's trying to go back to his original roots because no one gives a shit anymore about his old content or his other content that he pivoted to because he sold his community out to try and play wannabe hipster. And so when you look at that and you look at the soullessness that's in their content and you look at the fact that they associate with someone like Hassan, I'm sorry, but I can't sit there and in good faith think they're decent human beings when they actively participate in Hassan's bullshit, right? I just don't give a shit. And I've noticed Joey has definitely pivoted away from some of the people that he would normally be friends with. And if you know Joey's history, because I used to be subbed to his main channel since he was below 100k, right? He's changed friends group as he grew. He's very quick to ditch people once he gets a little bit too big for his own shoes. He isn't even talking about mangas much anymore. Yeah, because, again, he does the whole, oh, I'm into mangas and blah, 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 but then he won't talk about it. And then whenever anyone asks about it, he just doesn't give a shit, right? All he talks about is trending Japanese topics and problems, but then sits there and says, oh, I don't jump on trends. Oh, I'm still anime and manga, but he won't talk about it. It's like if you're going to build your whole platform off of the idea that you're a anime manga content creator, you'd expect that he would talk about anime and manga content. But he doesn't. He barely talks about it. And instead all he does is jumps on the current trending topic within the news in Japan. Because, again, this is what Joey does. He pivots to whatever's currently trending because that's all he cares about is jumping on the current trend. But then he'll try and gaslight his audience and be like, oh, I'm not a trend chaser. There's nothing wrong with trend chasing, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't try and gaslight me. Don't try and bullshit me that you're not trend chasing and then trend chase. I'm not going to fall for that shit.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
In today's climate, where not being political and just focusing on entertaining is now seen.
It's not even really trending. Not in the West, but he tries to jump on a lot of those like trendy topics within Japan itself, and that's starting to trend. To grow, you should talk about trending Australian topics like 6'7". Oh, I mean, I can talk about a lot of the censorship stuff going on in Australia, but it's so chaotic, and it's like you get little small updates and stuff. There's still a lot of like censorship being pushed. It's funny enough because I think the commissioner over here ended up getting sued, and they ended up failing as well because they were trying to push censorship crap, but they're still trying to push more stuff.
Seen as problematic and offensive. It's refreshing to see a well-established author of The Martian and Project Hail Mary, which is a huge success right now. Coincidence? Not only do an interview with Hollywood's most hated, controversial, independent critic.
Trash Taste is constantly pandering to tourists, including agreeing with Hassan. That's all anime is political, and that One Piece is communist. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, and that's why I just don't have any respect for them because they feel like soulless husks. They don't really care about the community, and I mentioned it in my last stream. You know, when Gigit's like talking about this whole manga thing that he's participating in. Right? He doesn't have any interest in promoting the anime community and the interest of the anime. He is there for the interest of the corporations. He's the interest of the corporate interest. That is what Trash Taste is about. Trash Taste is about serving the interests of the corporations, the big businesses, right? Which are the anime tourists. Trash Taste are not interested in serving the interest of what the anime community as a whole really wants and what is best for the anime community, right? I'm tired of people too scared of saying that because so many AniTubers don't want to upset Gigit, right? So many AniTubers are too scared to criticize Gigit because he's seen as the golden goose, the golden child, or the poster child or the poster boy of the anime community. He's not. He doesn't represent the anime community. He never has. He never will. No one represents the anime community, right? The anime community is massive. It's fractured. It has different parts, different sub-communities. Gigot does not speak for the entirety, and neither does Trash Taste as a whole. Connor barely has an imprint on the anime community. He's just doing his own thing that's just more almost patronizing to a degree, right? Joey is just chasing on current Japanese trends, and he's not really part of the anime community. Gigot's really the only one that has any footprint in the anime community, and he barely has any because no one really looks at him as a voice because he's so corporatized and so soulless, right? So that's why I have a problem with it. Because again, you've got to look at the fact that they only serve the interest of the corporations. They're soulless husks when it comes to their opinions. Connor has constantly attacked things and defended things purely based on sponsorships. And it's obvious. And they keep associating and keep promoting Hassan Piker on their fucking podcast. And now they won't do it because now the backlash was large enough. Oh, it took 2 lots of backlash, massive backlashes, before you got the picture that maybe inviting the most vile piece of garbage of a human being onto your podcast maybe wasn't a good idea. And then Connor had to lie for Hassan and lie to the community because he needed to defend it. I'm sorry, I have no fucks to give for either of them. They are corporate sellouts that do not give a single fuck about the anime community. They sold themselves out. And I don't care if they cry again on their podcast about me because they've done it once before. They've never named me directly, but they've cried about me on their podcast. I don't give a shit. Oh, I hurt your feelings, did I, Gigot, Connor, Joey? Did I, Joey? Because you are more than happy to build your career off of calling out anime tourists, calling out LARPers, calling out all these bad actors, but now suddenly you're one of them? That you're one of them? Now suddenly calling them out is, oh, that's inappropriate, that's toxic, that's hating, that's personal attacks. Criticizing you for your corporate sellout? Nah, you can take the criticism, Joey, because you're more than capable of still dishing it out now. You can take some on the chin. If you don't like it, if you don't like getting burnt, don't get in the kitchen. It's as simple as that, Joey, because you love dishing out dirt on people. You love firing out and doing your whole hot takes, but you don't like receiving it back. And it's the same with Connor, and it's the same with Gigot. Grow a spine. If you want to be corporate sellouts and only care about money, don't bitch and moan to me when your feelings get hurt. Because maybe the reason why your feelings are getting so hurt is because you know it's true. Connor has more pull in the VTuber space. He's not an anti-tuber. He has fuck all of a pull in the VTuber community as well. Don't give Connor credit there. I'm sorry, Vishy. Don't give him credit there. He does not have much of a pull in the VTuber community. He is an Hassan Piker cuck. He absolutely lies and defends Hassan Piker so many times that it is ridiculous. He has been exposed for lying for Hassan Piker. He's kept his nose a little bit more quieter now, but him and his friends in his orbits love attacking other content creators to try and shut them down. But Connor really only has much of a pull when it comes to Iron Mouse. He's just generally seen as like Iron Mouse's like side thing, right? He doesn't have much of a pull in the VTuber community. He really doesn't. He really doesn't. Giga is the only guy on Trash Taste that's actually funny and held weight, but he's lost his credibility. Yeah, I had a lot of hope for Giga, but the more I just see how corporatized he's become, the more I just don't give a shit anymore. I trust good Japanese YouTubers who expose TikTok lies like Shohei Kondo. Okay, I'd have to look that up. His only pull are his friends, which they're just chilling out now. Yeah. I mean, Connor just generally does his, like, charity stuff. He does his Iron Mouse stuff, which, you know, that's great. You know, he does his charity stuff. But people use his charity stuff as a defense for some of the stupidest shit that he has said and done. And he's constantly always attacking the idea of women being mothers and families and the whole, like, nucleus family. Connor is always attacking that. And it's the same thing Hassan does. Hassan just recently got called out by Sean Ahead for just hating on the concept of men wanting to be fathers and saying that it's creepy that, you know, anime and gamer fans want to be parents, right? oh, how dare I want to actually, you know, find a wife and have a kid, right? Oh, the travesty. But Connor does the exact same thing. Connor's just a discount version of Hassan Piker. He just actually does some charity stuff while Hassan just keeps begging for money. Ends up being like a freaking idiot. Giga is the lesser evil. Yeah, he is the lesser evil, right? Giga is not the worst one out of the three. But he's not immune from criticism. It's the new one for me. He does not like mothers. I have to read. There is no way they would obsess enough to watch streams. They may watch videos. So Connor and Giga and Joey did see an old tweet that I made a long time ago. It wasn't so long time. It was like a couple of years ago. They saw a tweet of mine where I criticized Connor for doing the same thing that Joey was criticizing other people for. So Joey made a video criticizing people hating on Spy Family, saying that they were basically hating on Spy Family because it was the popular thing to hate on. And then Connor hated on Spy Family. And so I took that clip of Connor attacking Spy Family and used exactly Joey's words and applied it to Connor, and said that he was just basically being a twat. A toxic twat. And all three of them had a tantrum on their podcast about it. Because I applied Joey's rule to Connor, and they believe they're above the very rules that they apply on all of us. Rules for thee, but not for me. That is how they work. And that is why I lost any and all respect for Giga after that moment. After the Hassan Piker's second podcast, and after the disdain that showed on Giga's face when I criticized Connor for the exact same rules that Joey applies to other people, because Connor did the exact same thing that Joey criticized others for, that's when they got upset. Because Giga, Joey, and Connor believe they are purely immune to criticism, that they believe they are above criticism, that they can do no wrong. That is how they act. They may not say it, but they act it. And actions speak louder than words. But the problem is people are too scared to call them out because of the backlash that their community will give them, but also the simple fact that if you call them out, oh, you'll lose collaborations. Pfft, you think I give a shit? You think I give a shit? No. He called Sean Ahead an emo girl. It's really weird and bizarre. Which is, by the way, Connor, if you ever do watch this, I find it really funny you hate the concept of women being mothers, seeing as Iron Mouse is a prompting accusations that he is attacking new fans and gatekeeping the community. You know what's so funny about that? But because he loves that whole, like, bringing in, like, the tourists when it was the popular thing to do. Now he's trying to pivot to his old style content. Now he's calling out anime tourists. Some community members on Reddit noted that while he is not malicious, he can come across as an arrogant, terminally online. If you're referring to Connor, yes, right? Or if you're talking about Joey. I mean, both of them can be. But yeah, Joey's, yeah. I don't have a problem with anime fans that got into anime this year, last year, during COVID, but I have a problem when they start attacking the medium and dictating what can and cannot be done. It's like this video. Discussions on Reddit suggest his content has shifted away from in-depth anime reviews towards broader pop culture, all-style-like topics, causing some view him as less of an authority on anime. Joey's not an authority on anime, and he hasn't been for a long time. There's some technical difficulties with the stream. My end is saying that it's fine. I'm not seeing anything on my end saying that there's any issues. It might be on your end, Francis.
The critical drinker, but also state the obvious.
For me, it's a great example of what you can do now with movies. If you're faithful to the source material and you don't insult the intelligence of your audience and give them something really interesting to grapple with, and, you know, dare I say it, don't try and shove like crappy identity politics into it, you end up with a goddamn good movie at the end of it that people just want to watch.
You and me are kind of on the same wavelength there when it comes to fiction writing. I never put any politics or messaging in any of my stories at all.
It might be on YouTube's end, because my thing is saying that everything's fine. So.
Purely to entertain.
They're human stories.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't have to worry.
It might have been YouTube. YouTube sometimes hiccups when they're buffering.
About the message.
Hey, I like how you did it.
Based. Creators like these, I believe we need more of more than ever. Looking at the current state of things, it seems we punish any creative thought that's outside the box, that refuses to align with mainstream corporate PC standards. Now, being creative is damn near seen as wrong thinking itself. Today's climate sucks the creativity out of true creatives. Freedom of artistic expression in the slightest or least is deemed the most problematic. But it's a reason why Japanese media is so highly
I mean, it could have been on my internet, and I don't know.
favored more than ever. As the Dr. Stone science supervisor said, Japan has a unique standard for freedom of expression, with the heavy-handed push of censorship and conformity and the
What do you think of people moving to Japan to change the media at the source? I hate it. I hate it. And I hope Japan realizes what they're trying to do and boot them out. But yeah.
West, the consumer is craving an outlet that doesn't abide by those standards. The taste for true creative properties has grown more, and I hope we get more base creators in the future to fill that void. But that's all I have for this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. I do believe that being a base creator is much more easier said than done, because the second you don't conform with mainstream dogma, not participating playing ball by their standards, just by staying neutral on things will bring you backlash, let alone actively working against them. The machine will come at you relentlessly. But I do believe the reward for doing so far outweighs what they can levy at you. It's hard for most, but those who weather the storm come out on the other end far greater than what they could have been if they just went along to get along. Be the maverick. Also, if you want to support the content I create, consider joining my channel and becoming a member. It's much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Free think. Peace. Yeah, Juliet, man.
But yeah. Good video. Good video by Monster Sensei. And I agree. I know I ranted a fair bit about other miscellaneous things, but it's just one of those where, like I said, yeah. That's an interesting video. Just gonna check and see if more Nikkei Yuri fans are mad at me before the end of stream. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'll wrap it up. I mean, we spend a fair bit of time on the Monster Sensei video. I send you a Connor short, which I think you will like. Ooh. You did too. Let's have a look.
What you will...
Okay, we'll go through the Connor one, and then we will...
always get from me is never a clear-cut answer, because it's just a mess.
Okay, I'll go through the start. Here we go.
What you will always get from me is never a clear-cut answer, because it's just a mess. None of us live in, the US. None of us are in any of these kind of intense political situations.
V is a terrorist. And he is. Sneaky ways.
Have very extreme beliefs, want to go crazy. I can't stop them. They can do whatever they want. Another side wouldn't do that as well. So I told him, I was like, hey, please don't do that. And he was like, yeah, man, okay, my bad. But I think as well, I told Hassan as well, I was like, hey, look, the show is not political. We don't want to deal with politics. We're most likely not going to have you on again.
That's like straight up written by a communist.
The message more than others. Obviously, Hassan has like fucking nailed it.
Because that was our thinking, because we already had him on once, and it was fine. But some people were angry about it. But yeah, I mean, it was ignorant on our part to think that, if you didn't talk about politics, it wouldn't matter. But kind of what you will always...
I remember that whole situation. Connor went on stream after that podcast and lied for Hassan. And they tried to claim that they weren't deleting comments and stuff, because heaps of comments were getting mass upvoted, calling them out, and then the comments would disappear. And they were trying to claim, oh, no, we're not deleting them. But there's a lot of speculation that they were hiding the comments, because there are ways to hide comments without you deleting them. So I don't believe Trash Taste that they weren't deleting comments. I don't believe anything they say, because Connor lied after that Trash Taste podcast, lied for Hassan, directly lied for him. And it was generally, yeah, you can hide, you can hide users, but you can also hide comments. Because one of the things you can do, if you have a second account, right, and you flag them as a moderator, if you go to delete comment, right, as a moderator, it doesn't delete it, it puts it in the held review section. Because I've done it with one of my alts before to test it out. And you can use an alt account, give it your moderator, and go to delete a comment on that channel, and it will put it in the held review, meaning only you and the original poster can see the comment. And I believe that's what they did. I believe they put them in held review so they weren't deleted, but they were hidden from the vast majority of people. Or the other option is Hassan was or his fans were mass reporting comments and getting them flagged. Which Connor was saying, oh no, Hassan never told his audience to go Hate Brigade, which by the way, Hassan did. Hassan sent his audience to Hate Brigade in those comment sections. He does it all the time, and he did it for that specific situation. And Connor said he never did, but he did. Connor has lied multiple consecutive times for Hassan, and people wonder why I have such a problem with Trash Taste. I cannot sit there and blindly defend people like this who actively defend Hassan. It doesn't stay in review for eternity. It stays in there for 30 days. So after 30 days, a comment's in a review section, it gets auto-deleted. So if it's in review, if it's in held, after 30 days, it gets auto-deleted. Hassan brigaded the comments of that episode, and Connor said that all the comments that were negative were from people that didn't watch them. Yeah, I remember it as well, because Connor was like, oh yeah, the people didn't watch it. I watched the podcast and I called it out. Most people were calling out watch the podcast, right? But again, Connor cannot handle criticism. He loves dishing it out. He loves grandstanding. He loves standing down on people and thinking, I'm so much better. But not for one fucking moment can he be genuine and honest with things. How did they even meet Hassan? It's because they're all part of the LA community. It's the rich snob community. They're all rich snobs, so they're all part of the leftist LA community. And so if you bend the knee to the right people, you get all those collabs. You get all those little types of cliquey groups that you're allowed to be part of. It seems like it's from Connections. Yeah, it's from Connections. It's the LA clique. Lugwig, all of those. Pokimane, Hassan, all of those types of people. That's how Iron Mouse got brought into that group. Did you repair your PC gaming machine? Yes. I don't even know if changing the power supply was the issue, but I do believe it was Wallpaper Engine that was the issue. Because Wallpaper Engine was making me go black screen, and I checked into it, and apparently it was that. So that might have been the issue, but I also did upgrade the power supply just in case. But yeah, Valkyrie, yep, Valkyrie's part of the same group. They're all part of the same group, right? Don't they stay in Japan? Giga, Connor, and Joey live in Japan, but they go over to America. Well, Connor goes over to America often, I believe, every now and again, right? So, and then whenever Hassan decides to go on one of his fancy holidays, yeah, he went over and did Trash Taste. But people complained about the first Trash Taste podcast with Hassan. They called it out. They called it out just as bad as this. People got pissed off the second time because it was so obvious at the start of the podcast. They all said, hey, let's not politicize things, Hassan. And what does Hassan do? He politicizes it. And then his audience and Hassan had to go, oh, I didn't politicize it. Yeah, he did. Multiple times. Do you use OBS for your streaming? No, I use Streamlabs. I do have OBS and I have a basic setup, but I use Streamlabs because it's just a lot easier to use, but I'm not able to multi-stream, which is annoying. Not that I really care too much about multi-streaming right now. I do want to look at multi-streaming. I just wish X was better at streaming because I'd like to multi-stream there. But yeah, I just... Yeah. It's a clip that really highlights the glaring issues with them. They somehow got away with it. Yeah, well. Of course they'll get away with it, because all they did was... Connor's biggest mistake was that he talked about it. That whole drama of Hassan, their worst mistake was they talked about it. Because what Joey and Giggit did was they ignored it. They ignored the drama and waited for it to go away. Connor couldn't keep his mouth shut because Hassan kept whining about it, because he didn't like the fact that people didn't like him in the anime community, and that he got kept out of the anime community, because we knew what he was trying to do, right? So Connor had to go in for defense mode. Joey and Giga were smart and just kept their mouth shut. So once they told Connor to shut his mouth, then the drama disappeared, which now most people forget about. But a lot of people still have it at the front, you know, the back of their mind, being like, hey, remember what he did there? Remember what they said and what they done? But yeah, that'll be the end of the stream. It's kind of funny because I was dipping views and now it's all gone back up. And I'm like, oh, I'm ending the stream. So, Connor cares too much about connections around him. Yeah, he does. He does. Because his friends group is all about virtual signaling, about egos. It's all just, yeah, it's all fakery. I don't care. I just want to protect my anime. I want to protect my community from this rubbish. I care more about the anime than about making friends with fake people. That was a weird pause you did. Oh, yeah, I was reading chat. I was reading one of my tweets. Because a bunch of people were attacking... The Yuri community, remember from the start of the stream? The Yuri community was attacking me, and they were like, oh, you're a tourist because you called it a bot game with robot chicks that want to sleep with the main protagonist. And I'm just like, it literally is. Yeah, does it have more story behind it? Yeah. But it's still booby butt game. It's still butt game.
Firepower!
Remember... I got pretty much maxed out Neon with less than 200 pulls. We got 4 copies of Neon. Give it a round of applause for me. Give me a round of applause. Give me a like. Give me a like. Hit the like for the stream. Because I got such a good roll. Such a good roll at the start of the stream. Such a good roll. That was so good. I'm so happy for that. That was peak luck on her part. I cannot believe I actually got so many copies back to back to back. Because we got, what, like, 4 copies how? Well, I got the original copy, right, to unlock the unit. And then I got 3 copies to max out her stars. I could get another 10 more if I wanted to do all the... But that, I don't do that. Because that's just excessive. And it would take all my gems to do that. And I don't want to waste my gems on that. So... I don't like wait. I want to kind of preserve my gems for the next... Probably going to save it up for the next 6 months for the next event. Which I think what would be the 4th year anniversary. Because this is 3.5. I think it's 3. My brain's breaking. It's late. Someone will remind me. Right? But the next anniversary. The next big one. I'll probably save my gems for that. Which means I'm going to have to start saving. My Anise rolls were kind of bad. Neon made up for it with the 2 copies at 80. That's not too bad. I generally was really lucky for Anise. I was really lucky with her. People were like fuming because I was like, oh yeah, I got like 4 copies of Anise within like 220 pulls. And then I got it even better with Neon. So I was like, Jesus Christ. Especially when I got it. And then I did another roll and I got her again. And then another roll and I got another unit. And then a space and then another unit. It's like...
Get ready for max firepower!
Are you keeping the stream up? I'm up. I missed most of it, and I turned into part of the last stream. Yeah, I keep the streams up. I had to take down the last one due to technical issues, and then I re-put it back up. I just had to edit something out just due to technical issues, but I'm keeping the streams up now. Because last time I deleted them all, people got really upset and were like, oh, we like re-watching them and watching them and stuff. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll keep them up. I'll keep them up. So I won't be deleting them anymore. Why not just roll and keep gathering the good tickets to buy a pity shop? Because I'd like to save the gems for when another good unit comes out. I've got a bunch of pity pools stuff anyway, right? I've got enough for 2, and well, almost 2.5. So I'm just gonna keep saving gems and tokens for the next big pools. So just waiting for the Cinderella banner. Are they gonna redo Cinderella? Because that might be tempting. I don't know if I have Cinderella. Do I have Cinderella? I don't think I have Cinderella. No, I don't have Cinderella. I want Cinderella. Maybe ADHD, but just had no time, but yeah. But yeah, I won't be deleting my old stream, so don't stress. I won't be doing that anymore, so. But much appreciated everyone dropping by. I'm going to get some food. Gonna sort out my cat because she probably wants more food as well. So I've got some sushi left over that I want to have, some prawns and stuff. So I'm gonna have that, and I've also got to go to bed at a reasonable time because I've got people coming around to give me a quote on something. So getting some security upgrades for reasons. So again, much appreciated. Thank you for dropping by on the stream, and remember,
Get ready for Max
enjoy your butt, robot, non-lesbian. All the girls want to bang the commander because